Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 218 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the man who's going to sell you the premium edition to a game that's been on the market for years, Lord Cognito.
Oh,
how are you today?
Early.
It's our hot topic of the show. I always lean into it with our intro. Come on now.
Jumping into it early. I like that energy.
I got to take the energy off my glasses right now. My eyes are so tired right now, so I'm wearing I did my South to Midnight preview, and a lot of people were like, yeah, these glasses don't fit your face, bro. I was like, so I never got the chance to exchange them, and now it's like too late, so I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna wear them in private. but I've had like such a rigorous past 2 days at my computer that my eyes are so strained, and I'm like,
yeah, you did that.
I was like, I need to put these on for a show, so everyone gets to make fun of me for an episode. So I'm trying to put pay attention to Forza, pay attention to what Xbox is doing, pay attention to COG. But how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Those glasses, your intellect is +5 and your perception is +3 right now. That you definitely right now. Yeah. You go with a high intellect talking, speech build.
Yeah, definitely passing speech checks with this thing. I don't know, bro. It's like I like them, but like it's like when my eyebrows are up. That's when I think it's working. But otherwise, these fucking things are so big. They're covering my eyeballs.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, do I swap these out? Do I get a new pair? Are they that bad? I mean, you can be real with me. Like, I'm cool.
I personally don't like, because it make you a little older.
Yeah.
Like you being super intellectual.
Yeah,
that's
what I was going for a smarter vibe, like not to be pretentious, but I was like, oh, I kind of like these, like a little more mature look. But when I put them on, I was like,
because they so big, they cover I think it's what you said, is they cover the eyebrows. Yeah, that's what's bothering.
Because what I had was, I have my other pair here. I had the Avalux, right? And the Avalux were more like these are computer glasses though, but these were more like a thicker frame.
Right. The Amber Jones.
Yeah, some people were more about that, but I don't know, man. I'm just...
Well, first of all, you need to be
the eyes
about,
this episode.
Yeah,
please
preserving the eyes.
Bear with my dorky self this episode,
exactly. Yo. Fashion be damned until we get the pair
I'm like
that you want.
The JRPG characters, or when you put on equipment that looks whack, but like you're improving your stats. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yes, you to do with the whack outfit, but there's no transmog in the game. Like that. That's you right there.
So true. Yeah,
you don't get no transmog. And you be like, damn, I need this build because I'm actually efficient.
Yeah, but
you're like, damn, I got to deal with the look right now. Yeah. But okay.
Yeah, perception build is on point right now, so we're just gonna rock with it. But again, how are you, good sir?
I'm hanging in, man. It's just been so crazy. It's so crazy. It's ups, downs. I'm just trying to navigate, man. But hopefully 2025 will be better. That's what I'm trying to keep positive energy. 2025, you need to be better.
Yes.
I got big plans. I would like to fulfill them.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, 2024 ended in such like a shit fashion for me that I was like, I already knew 2025 would be better. But yeah, this week, bro, it has just been like, for me, it's just been game development hell. Like there's just been a lot of like last minute, like oh shit. And so like every day, I had a pretty, normally my Monday to Wednesday is my busiest part of the week. When I was looking at my planner, I was like, oh, let's go. Like I should be done by like 5 or 6 every day. Bro, I was working till like 3 a.m. last night. Like it was like one of those work fires where I'm like, pretty much we had our VFX system bust on us and we had to go like fix it, and it fixed the combat. So everything's good now, but it was like one of those things where we made a new build and we were like, oh boy. And so I was like, well, we don't want to wait on this. So we jumped in, we fixed it pretty quickly, but it was one of those things where the stress got high real quick for me. I was like, so all these plans of like, I see these pockets. These are gamer hours.
Yeah.
Gone. Just a flash.
That sucks.
It's okay.
You got to scramble.
It's okay. It's part of the job. It happens. It's normal, but it's just like, you just, damn. Like I wanted to have Kana beat for this show. Unfortunately, they'll keep a little short. But
no, I was the same way last week. with Val. Now we get into it this week, but yeah, trust me, it's like things happening. Like, damn it, I want to get it done, but you got to take care of that stuff.
Absolutely. Got to create peak fiction. Am I right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finding Duke and Xbox podcast. We're happy to have you here. If you're interested in supporting us or the rest of Last Stand Media, you can go to patreon.com/laststandmedia, where early ad-free access for Defining Duke goes live on Thursdays. Otherwise, we'll catch you on Sundays. Again, thank you for your support on the audio feeds. We see that all of the LSM shows were in the top 30s again, including Defining Duke. So we appreciate you having our backs on all platforms we're on. Again, that was news that COG broke to me last week. I was like, maybe it was just a good week, but then we were there again. And so just thank you to everyone who listens to us. Those charts are hard to break. It's a tough crowd to break, the audio crowd. So we appreciate you having our back.
Much love.
As always, you can also write in on patreon.com/laststandmedia. We have a ton to open things up. So let's get it started with Sir Poops MacGuffin. Oh, you think that's a bad name? Just wait. There's one in here. I was like, what happened?
Oh, they acted up.
Hello, Dukes. I wrote in about 7 months ago saying I had bought an Xbox to be part of the conversation due to enjoying the podcast so much. I played Starfield and haven't used it since. I am looking how to organize a refund from you guys. Thanks. In all seriousness, I still love the podcast just as much as day one. COG's positive energy and outlook really does brighten up my day. And Maddie, someone that puts in as much effort as you into each thing he does, you can only respect. Thank you. No questions, just blowing smoke. Keep up the great work, dudes. Thank you for writing in, Poops MacGuffin. We appreciate you.
Yeah, much love, man. It means a lot. We don't get, when you get the good comments every now and then, oh, you affect me so much. Someone actually likes you.
Comment boys have been good lately. Comment boys have been good, honest, but not like the belligerent hatred that we were getting for a stretch of time. So that's been nice. It's been good to have.
It's been a real nice show. I feel like we try to get back into our hero arc again.
Yeah. We're on the rebound right now.
Yes.
So that's good to see. And we have more great writings here, like Alex Nush. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name.
That's the homie. That's Sephiroth. I know that. I know him personally.
There we go.
That's the homie.
All right. What's up, Sephi? Look, Maddie, if I ever hear you complain about the Mets again, I might just finish with the Veilguard started and end you. Because I am a lowly Marlins fan, and yes, it hurts just typing that. We have real problems. It's like trying to win Game of the Year with the dev team that made Life of Black Tiger. Now that that's out of the way, I've got a quick health is wealth write-in. I recently told or started training a fellow gamer and dad. I'm a personal trainer. And I told them about your podcast and this segment you do. I think this sense of community and camaraderie has played a huge role in making his fitness journey stick. Over the last 5 weeks, he's dropped a couple of waist sizes and added weight to all of his lifts. Normalizing strength and health in the gaming community is something I can really get behind. Keep it up, and thanks for all you do. So, COG, do we have some words to share with our lifters out there, our health is wealth community? How are we doing right now on our health journey?
Doing good. We're doing good, man. We're doing consistent. I've been really back in my cardio bag and pushing myself when, look, it is very easy to cheat in cardio.
Yeah.
It is easy. And I'm not a natural long distance runner. I'm not a person who it's a struggle for me to stay I'd rather be a power lifter. You know what I'm saying? Than to do the endurance required, because a lot of it is mental. It's just mental. You're supposed to be there and stay there and don't quit. So for me, it's all about mental distraction. Like I said, the musical playlist has been huge for me. And then honestly, this new thing, I know people used to do this a lot, but I couldn't do it. You see somebody on the Stairmaster or you see somebody on the elliptical and they're reading and they're like, yo,
yeah,
that be working. Because for whatever reason, your mind is distracted, especially if you're engrossed or something, and it'll help you push through. So I've actually had the phone out and some articles and stuff that I've put off. And then I'm kind of looking through it and getting through it at the same time. So that's been a little cheat code for right now.
Yeah, watching or reading something that you put off is a cardio cheat code. That remember I was doing that when I was going to the gym more. The anime hack is what I would watch. That's how I watched Free Ren. That's how I caught up on My Hero. I just grinded anime while on the elliptical, and I would work up a huge sweat. And all of a sudden I'd be 2 episodes deep and I'm like, I'm gonna go for a third, whatever.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you've just worked out really hard for an hour and you feel it, but you don't pay attention to just that time dragging,
Yes.
For me, what I need to get set up, I love my Peloton, but I need to get a stand that attaches to the middle kind of barrier so I can look at my phone videos, because the Peloton has built in like Disney Plus, like these apps, but you really can't go on YouTube, which is where I watch most of the content. That like, you know, the amount of times I worked out to like a Jake Baldino or Skill Up video, bro. Like, I love my dudes, bro. And like and so like I like listening to their stuff, and the time just flies when I'm listening to their stuff. So like, you know, Skill Up reviews like 40 minutes long. So when I like fire one of those up and I'm hitting the bike, like it's just once the video is done, I'm like, all right, I'm good now. But it's tough because like I just have these drinks where you'd hold your drink, and that's I just have my phone sitting there because either that or you hold it while you're riding, which sucks.
I can't do it.
I got to get some attachment for it because I thought when I got my Peloton, I think I got it for like a really good deal, but like I thought I'd be able to, you know, stream AirPlay from my phone to this big tablet, but that's not how it works, unfortunately. At least not yet. Maybe the newer Pelotons do it, but not the version I've got. Gotcha. But yeah, that's a huge thing. Yeah, that's a huge cardio hack. I give Jimmy Champagne credit. He's told me he's like, yeah, I play Diablo while I'm like on the treadmill. I'm like, how the fuck? Like, bro, I would fall.
Yeah, there's no way.
Like, there's something about me. Can you stand in game?
That's a good question.
I struggle to stand in game.
Yeah,
always
I can't stand in game. Yeah, I mean, standing in game is from an arcade standpoint, but I have something physically like stabilizing you, and you're leaning on something, right? But you talk about like standing in handheld gaming, standing in with a controller.
Like you're standing with a controller in your hand, like looking, like I know. Like whenever we're at like events, like PAX, I always struggle with that. Fortunately, they have seats now, but when I'm like standing in game, I'm like, I'm just not as good.
I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then a lot of times, especially that's why like my performance at like game, like preview events and stuff like that is always terrible because it's like, this is not my natural environment. And I really don't want you here. Like I want to be by myself and just wrap myself.
I try to perform better in the preview moments because I just get like a little nervous. Someone's going to be watching me like, because bro, the worst thing is when you're like trying to figure out and you can kind of like feel the dev walk up behind you, like just watching you like figure it out. And they're like, oh, you actually, I'm just like, I knew that. Yeah.
Facts. That's actually real. What you just said. 100%.
Alex, thank you for writing in, and thank you for pointing someone to our show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, he's a big Florida dude. Marlins and Dolphins. Yeah. Once the Niners get back out there, schedule wise, it was supposed to happen. Man, Steph is awesome. Man. He's real good dude, man.
Adam Connor's our next write in. Hey, Maddie and Cog. I'm looking for some advice. I was a freelance game reviewer on YouTube. I managed to support myself for 3 years, but the work dried up. After months of searching, I couldn't find anything with my experience or my degree. I just started a new retail job and I run 2 YouTube channels, but they're not big enough to support myself yet. So 2 things. How do I stay positive after a major career setback and try to find the balance between my work, my YouTube channels, and life? I know this was a long one, but thanks for reading and have a great day. Thank you, Adam, for writing in. I'm sorry to hear about the setback.
Yeah, Adam is preaching to my soul.
Yeah, I thought you'd be good to lead it off.
Yeah, this is literally kind of what I'm going through. I know I'm obviously, being a person that, does a lot of freelance stuff, have the YouTube channels, have, ILP and stuff like that, and Duke, which we're blessed. But as far as like being able to say, hey, I can do what I want to do, like how I was at, at Meta and stuff, it's tough. And the market's extremely brutal right now. And for you right now, Adam, the best advice I could give you, because it is discouraging, because basically a human resource and a hiring manager gave me an analogy, how bad the tech industry and the games industry is right now. It would be like when a job posting goes up, it's the equivalent of throwing a piece of raw meat into a stadium full of wolves.
Oh.
You feel what I'm saying? Like,
that's a good line. That's fire.
Bro, it is insane. Yeah. And it's about the timing. So like if a post goes up, you 8 out 200 applicants already.
Yeah.
Like, damn. So it's frustrating. What I would say, Adam, the best advice I could give you, and it's a dark period, I know it's frustrating, is network. It's about who you know. If you know anyone, don't humble yourself and say, hey, I'm looking, you know what I mean? And get that thing in front of someone so maybe they can afford it, help you try to circumvent the process. Because traditional applications at this moment, in this climate, it's brutal. So keep your head up, brother. I'm with you. I know the fight. I'm fighting it myself. Yeah. And you still keep grinding your other stuff. And hopefully you can get your other stuff up to a point of, sustainability. But I understand that struggle. It's real. And a lot of us are going through it right now.
Yeah, that is a really good analogy. The raw meat with a stadium full of wolves. I was just reading an article because of like the big bet on AI. Actually, what's interesting is there was a was it Wisconsin? I want to say, I forgot the exact place, but there has been a major investment in schools trying to fund more like trade school programs and whatnot, more manual labor program, like that sort of work, because big tech has become so like everyone saw the transition, went to school for it, found their place, and it's almost like all those slots are filled, and it's hard to find a spot otherwise. So the new generation is like training for more hands-on stuff now, and I think it's going to add back and forth eventually. But as for like staying positive, the best thing I think you take away from this is a good opportunity to invest in yourself. It's good to work as part of something. Like being part of LSM is extremely important to me. Like I love having a crew, a group of friends, people I trust, people I worked with, people I respect. So don't get me wrong, like being part of a thing is still very valuable, but this is a good time to invest in you and pay attention and build your personal brand, because no one can take that from you is what happens. At least if you have a set, no one can take that from you, because you'll always get pushback online. But if you can hang with that and build that out, you'll do great. You'll never have to worry in the sense of, will someone take this away from me? You just have to, continue. It's like an athlete, right? A good athlete continues to train on the off season, so they show up and they perform during the regular season. It's kind of the same thing here. It's like, as long as you stay sharp and you hone your talents and you eventually find that audience, it takes a lot of trial and error, and you are going to fail a lot. That is the reality of it. Like, even I see some people sometimes write in or comment like, oh, like your channels are so successful. And it's like, they go up and down. Like right now, Mr. Matty is like bulletproof. It's been bulletproof for a while, but it'll have its moment of weakness, and that's okay. Retro Rebound was, in its first 3 years, was really strong. 2024 was technically it was still on the incline, but like I can read the numbers and be like, no, like we could have been doing way better. But I was stretched super fucking thin last year. Right. So this year we spent the first 2 months retooling, and we just had our best month in like ages. Where we really got the game plan together. But that was from like literally studying, like, I'm going to play out this experiment. I think it's going to fail. But if it doesn't fail, then that's going to tell me something. But YouTube is a beast where you learn more about your failures than you do your successes, because success can come from anywhere. You can just get lucky in the algorithm. Someone can make fun of you. It could be anything that could literally be like, check this out, and your video just blows up. Yes. Whereas when you fail, there's likely something more consistent with that you can take away from it. Titles, thumbnails, those are usually the big ones. The content itself, the presentation format, your angle. So, it's not a blessing, I guess you would view it right now as, because you're still, not in the place you want to be, but take that opportunity to really assess your craft and get it to the best place it can be. And I always tell everyone, like, I sometimes do YouTube consultation when people sign up for the Patreon. I'm like, yeah, look, you can do it. You just got to stick with it. Anyone can do it. The only people who succeed are the ones who, even the people you hate most on this platform, very few of them, I can't think of many people who just like lucked out immediately. Like they had to stick with it. And the best at it are the people who went like me. I didn't make money when I started this. I did it for years, not making any money. I started making money. That's great. If I stopped making money, I would still be here. Right. That is the difference maker. So if you're looking at this as sort of like, I'm going to make this my job, stop. That's not going to happen. You're going to quit. But if you start and you're like, I want to be here, just part of the conversation, people can smell that on you. Like it's the separator for sure. So hopefully this helps a little bit, but you should stay positive because you do have work right now. That's the good thing. You do have a job. I don't know your personal situation, but you do have a job. Yes. And so you have the ability to chase after it. Stay consistent, and I think you'll get where you want to get.
Good point.
Thank you for writing in, though, Adam. I hope everything goes uphill for you now. Or swings upward for you. I don't know if I want you to fight an uphill battle. That's not a good thing. All right. This was an interesting write in here. Davey Supple writes in, what's up, Duke boys? Maddie, on your last episode of Summon Signs, you were talking about skating and the pressures of not wearing pads. Now, ready for this flex, dude? Listen to this.
So let's go.
Around the Tony Hawk Pro Skater days, I was an avid skater. I was a card-carrying member of the Van Skate Park in Orange County. I've skated at Bob Burnquist's house. Tony Hawk actually helped me drop into that huge halftime at Vans. I used to skate with Riley Hawk with somewhat frequency at the Carlsbad Skate Park, and typically I would always wear my pads. Street skating, however, was 100% different. you would always run into the older kids who would straight up call you the F slur if they caught you wearing pads. Exactly what I was talking about. Once such a situation happened and I left the pads behind, happened to be the same day I got the speed wobbles as I was thrashing an unusually steep street and landed directly on my knees, embedding rocks and dirt half an inch into my skin. Been there. Hurts like a bitch. The type of crash I should have gotten stitches for. My mom didn't have the time to take me to the hospital, so fuck it. Sorry for the long post, but hearing you reminisce about old skate days, maybe you want to do the same. Anyway, have a skate or die kind of day. Kyle, did you skateboard at all, ever? I can't hear you right now. Are you muted?
I'm sorry. Good catch. Professional podcasting.
Yes.
No, I had a brief moment. There was a moment in the hood where like skateboards were in, and it was an orange and black joint. It was fine. It was fine. I was okay.
What?
But when it came to what you guys are doing and going to the parks, and I was not that risky.
Davey was on a whole other level, bro.
Yeah, like him, Dagan, like that. Yeah, this is yeah. So that I had a brief little flirtation, is what I should say, for about a year.
Sure. I just thought it was fascinating. This dude like skateboarded during the heyday with like goats, like a Tony Hawk, a Bob Burnquist. That's fucking crazy,
bro. That's a flex.
Yeah. But nonetheless, for me, reminiscing on my skate days, I mean, it really is just a story of like risk averse Maddie through and through. Like, oh, grinding rails. What if I slip and crack my head open? They're like, take off your helmet, bro. I'm like, substitute bro with something else. I'm just like,
yep.
I'm like, no.
Bro,
I get it.
The culture.
But but then when I caved in, I took off my helmet, bro. I wasn't going off steps. I was hitting like ollies, safe tricks. I was doing straight street skating. Like I was just keeping it flat ground. Like the most I would hit is like a 4-step. Like that's all I would do. I didn't have the balls to be a big skater. That was the thing. Like I didn't. Like I was just way too scared of hurting myself. And I think you got to let that. It's an extreme sport. You got to let go of that part of yourself to do it. Or just be willing to eat shit. And I just watched so many people hurt themselves over the year. I was like, why would I was like, I want to get sponsored, but I was like, I'm not willing to risk it all for that. So I would just practice like, flip tricks on the flat ground and get good at those. But otherwise, like it was not really like, I don't want to oversell to anyone my skateboarding abilities. I was definitely I was good, but I was extremely tame when it came to like, if you caught me on film, it'd like be just rolling while he was doing it, but
rolling.
Not much else there.
I feel you, but nah, man, you try to keep your head open, man. not cracked open.
Yeah, so like my head's not meant to bounce off the pavement, man. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm good. Now, but respect though, because it's a level of skill. Obviously, it's a level of fearlessness, and I'm listening to y'all, and I'm seeing the writings and the culture about it is so cool. And there's a part of me that's jealous, like because you could tell it's a subgenre that is very passionate. It's like a cult following. And obviously with the game, which we'll get into, it's just like, this is about to blow back up again.
Yeah, the game. And I think it was the combination of it really was the way we dressed, the music, and the flow of skateboarding. Those three just combined to something that like, I even miss now. Like, I think if I got into skateboarding again now, it would be more so as like a vehicle. Like I wouldn't be doing many tricks, but just the flow of like kicking and just riding. I loved that. That with some music in my ears was like very zen for me. Very zen. I do miss that. So yeah, that was I loved skateboarding growing up, and the Tony Hawk games, is like you mentioned, we'll talk about in a little bit, were like a huge part of that. All right, this next one's a pivot, Cog. You ready?
Let's do it.
Gabriel Baker writes in. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, found out about this like 5 minutes before we recorded this show. So we threw it in here. Hey, Dukes, kind of an awkward write-in, and I was featured on the show last week, so I understand if it doesn't make it in. To Cog specifically, what is your opinion on Colin's use of the N-word on Constellation this week? I don't want to stir drama, but I was genuinely surprised to hear him say that publicly. I don't care what people say in their private lives or in their own homes, but I was thinking saying it publicly is going too far. I also think it was unusually tone deaf for Colin, considering there was a black employee on the episode. It's like Colin himself always says, you shouldn't put people in situations where all the options are less than ideal. And what was the point? All of this to make some point in the culture war. Sorry for the rambling, but this had me feeling conflicted as a biracial person that loves LSM, and I would appreciate hearing Cog's opinion. So take it away, sir.
Yeah, man. A shout out to Gabriel, man. I mean, obviously, it just came to my attention a little bit lately, and obviously, me and Colin already spoke already long before this, but it was interesting because two things I always tell the people is context and intent, right? Context and intent. Now, the subject, we had a great Stelly. Shout out to my man Gene. You know what I'm saying? We talk about we talk about Kanye and the precipitous fall.
That's put it lightly, man. Jesus Christ.
Whoa, the man is bugging right now. So, we're talking about it, and we talked about obviously being able to separate the man from the art and when we used to like him, right? And when we used to like him, why we used to like him. And anybody who's a hip hop head, know. Like, it's like college dropout, late registration, and I would say the Jay-Z collabo Watch the Throne album. For all my hip hop heads, we know what the name of the song is. That's the name of the song that Kanye and Jay-Z named in Paris. And I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah,
right?
Leave it to interpretation for our lovely audience.
Exactly. So that's what the context was. You're repeating the name of a title of a song of the artist themselves named, right? Now, if Mr. Batty, or I'm not going to do that. So let's say Addict.
Don't do that to Reddit,
I'm definitely not going to do you like that.
They'll be like, go ahead, continue.
Yeah. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Addict or the homies, you know what I'm saying, one of my Caucasian brethren, right, come up to be like, yeah, hard on, what up? Hard on. What you think, hard on? That's not good intent.
Yeah.
That's not in the context of this, because we're having an intellectual conversation about a rapper and the title of his song in conjunction with the precipitous fall of that rapper, as opposed to one of the homies. Let's say, for example, if one of my, again, Caucasian friends pulled up to the projects and said hard R, right? Then we'd have to pull him to the side because we'd be having a different conversation. So that's it, y'all. It's all love, Colin and Dagan are the brothers, and they just sincerely love hip hop. And Gene, you know what I'm saying? It was a dope discussion. So, no flag on the play. Everything is all good, bro. We good. Trust me, because I will say this for anyone who is concerned. I have no problem pulling people to the side. And Maddie knows me well enough when he know when I'm upset. Maddie, I think you see me upset like 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
And when I'm upset, I can go.
People, yeah, like you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah. You can tell. Like, I'm very serious about that. But appreciate you writing in, Gabriel. And like I said, it's all love, man. All love.
There you go. There's the word. Jacob MD 36 writes, hey, Duke boys, first time writing in, and this question for Cog, I had to balance you out a little bit, right? I want like the one direct right. You had to be about that, so I wanted to create a little balance here. I wanted to ask if you ever played Judgment, the spinoff of the Yakuza series. I've been playing the first one on Xbox, and I got to say this game is so great with its mix of Yakuza combat and detective gameplay. I'm surprised nobody really talks about this game. Just wanted to give it props to this forgotten series kind of day.
Missed out on this. Missed out on Judgment. I remember seeing it and being very intrigued by it, and like the whole detective side. I actually like the actor that they, the character they play as the main protagonist.
Oh, Yagami,
yeah. And I'm like, oh man, but for whatever reason I missed out. And I know it's same universe from my understanding.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I played the first one. I never thought of it, but you would really like these games. Yeah, it's a good recommendation here from Jacob. These are like, they do have detective elements. It's still got the action combat from like the older Yakuza games, but it's also got a little bit of comedy in it. Not to the level of, like, the sub stories aren't to the level of Yakuza, like the mainline series where they just go like crazy.
They go crazy.
But there are some funny ones. But it is that sort of blending of like really self-serious story with a great villain, and this part of Japan that's being built out. I won't get too much into the details of it, but like it does have a good storyline, and it is like very much you being a cop and kind of learning about some underground dealings going on. And if you like what you played with Yakuza already, these don't tie in where they kind of just exist on their own. I have not played Lost Judgment though, which apparently is better in a lot of ways. But the first one I did play, I put like 30 something hours into it. And I remember talking about it with Carrick, and I was like, it was solid. Like, compared to the Yakuza games, I don't think they're, at least the first one, I didn't think it was better than anything else, but I feel like you would vibe with Yagami a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check it out. Man, I've had my eye on it, and I remember seeing previews. I'm like, no, it looked cool. It looked cool. I just never got around to it.
Yeah, the problem with this series strictly is like I have a bunch of Yakuza games to catch up on before I start messing with spinoffs.
Bro,
I made that mistake already, as you can tell. But now that I know I really want to play more Yakuza games, I'm like, well, I have like one foot in the grave at this point. Do I go play Lost Judgment instead? I don't know. But fortunately, it doesn't seem like there's much continuity, which is good. All right. Those are our write-ins, Cog. Thank you, Jacob, and everyone else for writing in. Now, we get into Tony Hawk Pro Skater to open up our show. 3+4 are being remade by Iron Galaxy, and it is set to release on July 11th of this year. The game will support cross-platform play with up to 8 players, is bringing in a new Game Plus mode, which we're yet to learn some details on. There's more creation tools, so it's building off of what Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake are doing. And the Doom Slayer as well as the Revenant are going to be guest skaters, and it will be day one on Game Pass. Pen and Pant has the write-ins. Hey, Dukes! Tony Hawk 3+4 was officially announced. Which collection has the edge over the other? I have 1+2, but only played maybe 7 hours, but had a lot of fun there. Is there anything 3+4 will do more and or better than 1+2? Keep crockin', rockin', and hawkin'.
I'll be putting that crockin'.
Well, hold on. Hold on, Cog. I forgot to pause us there a little bit. I saw what you're going through right now. Let me foot the bill for Japan or something, bro. Like, I don't need to see you going through this on Twitter, bro. I don't need to sign on and see hot dogs in the face. I don't need to see Crocs on your feet, squats. There's got to be a better way to get you across the planet right now. There's got to be a better way, bro. It's starting to worry me. When I saw you walking around like, yo, check out these Captain America Crocs, I was like, trash. Put them in the trash. What's going on, man? Before we even get to Tony Hawk, Pen and Pan reminded me. I had to talk about this in the opening of the show, but here we are.
Bro, this road to Tokyo. Yo, we have the most funniest diabolical community in the
they like to see you guys suffer.
They love when they know you don't like something, and then when it comes to challenge time, let's make Maddie do that.
Yeah,
everything he despises, and then it's a tidal wave. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And people are like, yeah. And bro, they relish our humiliation. I'm really like, our community loves to see us suffer. Yeah. So they know, I've been on record, Maddie. You know how I stand 10 toes down. Crocs are the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. I hate them. They look like hippopotamus shoes. They look ridiculous. That's
a good description. Give me the review.
Yeah, like, bro, if you look at this.
Oh, no, he still got them? You didn't throw them out? Bro, oh, no.
Look at this. Dude. They bought these for me.
Dude, these look like you'd find them in the kids section. Did you find, were they adult men's?
Oh, I did not purchase. King purchased because the community said that, and then they send them to me and got them in my size. I would never even be caught dead in the store when they sell these.
Oh, okay.
So look at this. You ever there's a game as a kid. It used to be called Hungry Hippo. That's what this look like, right?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they just be a little sleeker? Why are they big and doofy? These are literally clown shoes.
Is that shield removable? Is that like a clip?
Yeah, I think they call them the divot or something where you put little bedazzled Exactly. Nah, this is a child's device as far as I'm concerned, right? Now, the bet was Cog has to wear Crocs when we go to the movie theater, and then King wants to put Sauce on the challenge, right? So he's like, yo, now you got to wear Crocs. I want you to crab walk from the moment you enter them, because he loves Crocs and he wants to shame me. And he wants me to crab walk from entering the theater all the way to my seat. He records it. I said, okay, cool. When it's your challenge, being that I know you hate glizzies, and for the people who don't know, glizzies are hot dogs. Hot dog industry, I feel bad for you because these kids are going to run you out of business. They are.
Why does everyone hate hot dogs all of a sudden? I don't get it. Hot dogs are great.
Because now the kids call them glizzies. And when they call them glizzies, they're denoting the phallic nature of the hot dog. Thus,
that's not right.
Hot dogs are banned across all inner city youth now because that is you simulating taking something to the face. So being that I know that King has a lot of youthful energy, I'm going to make you eat a glizzy. And I'm going to make you put your hand on a grown man random, and I'll pick out at the movie theater, and you're going to look that man in his eye, and you're going to take that glizzy down to the face, and I'm going to record you. Since you got me wearing Crocs, that's what I'm going to do. So that was the challenge. That was the IOP Road to Tokyo challenge of this month. So yeah. If y'all saw me on social media,
dude, you got grown ass man pranking people in the movie theater with hot dogs. Like,
you got to see the terror in that man's face that we did that. We were very fortunate that a bad situation didn't happen because of people getting pranked and stuff like that. But
bro, it's funny. I see these prank videos. Like, I saw a video of a guy, and I don't get, if I was ever targeted by this, I don't know how people come to these reactions, but this dude was in like a Target, and he just like gently next to the guy's ear just played like a little fart sound, like that. And this guy just turns around dead fucking serious and just starts walking him down. And he's like, you fuck with the wrong guy. And I'm like, how could you, like, I think farts are unapologetically hilarious. Like, that is a global unifier. Like, I could speak a different language to you. If someone ripped ass in that room, we're all laughing, right? Like, it is, we speak the same language at that point.
Yes.
It blows my mind that I see people like getting like, by the way, there are some pranks that go way too far.
They're way too far, yeah.
But there are ones like that which are innocently a little, that you turn around like, oh, that's all. But these dudes are like, I'm going to fight you, bro.
Bro, that's serious. Beat dudes up. It's wild out here. So you got to be careful. But to your initial question with the said footwear, I will admit, they are the ugliest thing going. But they are comfortable. I will give the Croc community that. If you have any type of orthopedic problem, if you are on your feet all day, that is the shoe for you, because I will admit, man, it's comfortable. I'm not going to take that away from it, but I would never wear those things ever in my life unless I'm challenged, threatened, or whatever. So that was the context in which I had to wear them, and that's it. But it was funny. And shout out to our community. They really want us to go to Tokyo, because Solve was like, look, normally, you know me, we do PAX East, we do Games Fest, we do PAX West. We always have like an itinerary of shows that we hit. And so Iron Bank was like, oh no, not this year. If y'all doing Tokyo, none of that. If you're doing TGS, none of that. So once the Realm found out, they were like, no. We got to get the Lords to Tokyo. So yeah, bro, we're like 75% of our goal in like 2 months, bro.
For you guys.
I love the community. It's about having fun and us making fun of ourselves.
Yeah, it's good. You guys aren't like sweating it. You guys are having a good time getting to your goal.
It's positive. Addicts is going to be wild this year. What they got him doing, because the community. It's
been like a gradual reveal. I didn't know that.
yeah. Well, I was giving you the preview. Everyone knows that Addict hates boba tea. Boba is his kryptonite. I remember the first E3 me and King took him. He's like, yeah, I want to try boba with you guys. And he had it, and he started, you know how he got the little
it's got the little
he's like, I don't like the way this tastes down my throat. He was laughing for hours. So we were like, yeah, now that we know you don't like boba, we gonna get you with a clear glass, big white creamy boba with the black balls and the big straw, and you gotta have your shirt off. You know? We got him. Oh, bro, it's over. It's over for Addict. He laughing at us. It is wait till you see his challenge. It's coming up. Coming up for the month of March, y'all. Road to Tokyo.
That is too good.
Listen, let me tell you, last thing I'll say is the Lords, this is the type of stuff we would do back in the day, playing games, all that Bob's Cars. We are all about betting and putting it on the line. If you standing on it, like, so these are like, if we had YouTube back then, I ain't gonna lie, we'd be lit.
Yeah. The boba tea is just like, I get it though, because when I had boba tea for the first time, that was like the jump scare. Is like, I went to, how do I like, there's no way I get through this there's no way I get through this without a pause moment, right? Like, but when you suck it down and you feel the balls, you're like, dude, you're like, where the fuck did that come from?
Where the balls came from?
Yeah, I'm like, why is there literal like why is there meat in my throat?
Yo, literally, I ain't gonna front. It's a shock. You're like, yo, what is the texture of this? What's happening?
My head always goes to the thought process of the making of it. Like, there's someone out there, dude, chick, I don't know, who's like, ooh, I like that. It's like, I was like, wait. Chill out.
Yeah, that's true. Very unusual texture, but it is good. But it's funny.
Yeah. Absolutely. So best of luck to Addict. Support my men.
Yes.
Get them to Tokyo.
Yes. Oh, and to the question. Oh,
yeah, let's talk
pen. No, I was going to lean really on you with this one. Obviously, I saw the trailer. Oh,
yeah, look at the trailer,
bro.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Like, I'm just happy for the Tony Hawk community. They've been waiting so long, and let's be honest, this Activision thing has been taking a minute, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that now we got one of the big staple franchises in Game Pass day and date. I even see the Nintendo Switch put their trailer up. So we're talking cross-play between the devices, or
this is Play Anywhere title. Yeah.
Oh, Play Anywhere. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I have to try. I've never played a Tony Hawk.
Oh, really? Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that I missed out. Graphically, this looks like a glow up. So you guys tell me, like, for the community that played these games, I'm looking at the before and the after, because they're doing it in between the trailer, the remaster stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks like a sick remaster. But what are the hardcore say? Are they like, yo, I'm seeing the effort? Or is it like, how's everyone feeling?
So the one thing that we're still feeling out is the career mode for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Again, that in a little bit. Overall, this looks really good. I've actually never played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. For those who are wondering, the 3 Tony Hawk games I have, technically 4 if you want to count Pro Skater 5, which got like terrible reviews, so I never touched. But I never played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. I never played Underground 1 or 2. Every other Tony Hawk game I've played multiple times, though. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, I can't speak too much to, but 4 is one of my favorites ever. 4 is like, first off, these games are crazy, bro. They have you just, each game gets more insane. And they set the tone pretty early. Like in Pro Skater 1, I think it was, you get to go to like Roswell. And like you have this alien voice that if you like fall off the map, they'll be like, you suck. Like they'll talk shit to you. I don't know if you've seen any of the guest characters in Tony Hawk before, but like you'll play as Darth Maul, Jango Fett, Shrek, Spider-Man, like all these. It's insane, Cog. It's insane. So they always lean into craziness. It's always been the arcadey skateboarding game where when Skate stepped in, that was the simulations skate game. Like,
like Tony Hawk is technically the arcadey one.
Yeah, it always has been. They were like the first one. Yeah, they came out. They set the tone for like arcadey stuff. Skate came in later with the 360 and PS3, and instead of like button presses and making it more arcadey, they went with the right. I don't know if you played it, but they went with the right analog stick, and in the way they did it was perfect. The motion of the analog stick is which way. Like if you were doing a kickflip, if you were regular, you would go back and then up to the left, and your character would like flip their leg out, and it was like that sort of simulation. Yeah.
Fire.
And it's not like Tony Hawk where like when I'm manualing, I'm going to press like a bunch of buttons and switch tricks like 4 times and get my multiplier up. So yeah, Tony Hawk's always been more arcadey, more crazy. And like, it's about strings. Like I'm going to go up the ramp, do some air tricks, land into a manual, revert, then grind, change my trick like 4 times. And each trick you do builds up the multiplier more. So
got it.
Little SSX kind of action, if you will.
Yes, I'm getting it now.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like the flavor of Tony Hawk. But Pro Skater 4, what it did is like basically every career mode before this, and even after, I'll talk about how it evolved, but pretty much every career mode before this was like collect the letters SKATE, get your different combo scores of like 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, find the secret tape, do a combo and collect all the combo letters. Like all of them had the same goals. Some of them had like little different ones. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 goes in this more GTA-like direction, in my opinion. Like you have the same mission maps. Like each game has a set of maps. Like in Pro Skater 4, you'll go to like Alcatraz, which is always one that stands out in my head. Like you just go to these ridiculous places to shred. It's awesome. And in the case of Pro Skater 4, like you'll talk to the security guard there, and he'll be like, yeah, like we've had some birds that are troubling us. Like, come help me take them out. And so you'll sketch the back of his security car, and he'll like drive you to places. He's like, grind over there. There are the birds, and like you'll hit the birds off of the railing by doing a particular type of grind. And he's like, sketch the back of my car. We got to get more birds, and like take you all around. So that's or there's another one where he's like, sketch the back of my car. We need to launch you off of Alcatraz and see how far you can go. So there's stuff like that. Rodney Mullen will be standing there. He's like, yo, it'd be a 6 set. For some reason, Rodney Mullen's at Alcatraz. He's like, why don't you do a special trick over this tractor here that's like moving debris in real time? And that was, I loved Pro Skater 4 because of that, because it broke the mold in a really interesting way where you still had these missions. And what American Wasteland would eventually go on to do, I don't know if Underground did this, so I apologize for my ignorance, but they kept evolving the career mode. And in American Wasteland, which is my personal favorite Tony Hawk game, you had 2 modes. You had like the career mode where you had this thing called Skate Ranch, where as you did missions in the open world, they would add these pieces that you'd find throughout like Hollywood and Beverly Hills, like these landmarks would then be put into a massive skate park. And it was fucking awesome. At the same time, though, they had classic mode, which is what I described earlier with like Tony Hawk 1 through 3, where it was like, you know, your pro score, your 6 score, collect the skate letters, those sorts of things. You know, grind a particular rail here, collect your secret tape. So what we're seeing is that there's a chance that Pro Skater 4 might just be those maps, but without the missions that were in 4 originally. Instead, it's going to be the 4 maps with the 3, 2, and 1 gameplay structure.
Got it.
And to me, that is a little bit of a letdown. I'm not going to lie. Not like I'm bummed, not like I'm not going to play this, not like this sucks, because Tony Hawk's just undeniably fun to play.
Right.
But I worry about like, well, if you want to remake like Underground and then American Wasteland, you kind of got to get the building blocks from 4, because that sort of open structure and mission-based structure is what unlocked those games. So someone's got to take the leap somewhere.
Got it.
So that's where we're at. But dude, they're hitting all the classic vibes in my opinion, right? They're building off what's there in the remake in 1+2, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I played some of it. Guest characters are a huge thing. I love that they're leaning into Doom. Such a cool idea.
So I was saying like the IPs and stuff, like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They've always done that. Like I don't know if like when Darth Maul was in, I don't know if anything was happening. I know the prequels were happening, but I don't know how close in proximity it was to like Phantom Menace at that time. But they had Jango Fett, they had again Shrek, Spider-Man, and it was cool because like Activision was making all of these different games at that time. Like they did the licensed Shrek games, they did the Spider-Man games. So like the model they used in Pro Skater 1 or 2, I forget which one it was, for Spider-Man was the same model that they used in like Spider-Man 64 and Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. So like you just felt like this family of Activision games.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. So I love that they're adding new fun guest characters because they all get their own special tricks usually. And also like, dude, it's hilarious to skate around as the Doomslayer or the Revenant.
Bro.
You know, like when I talked about Darth Maul skating around, bro, this guy literally has his double-bladed lightsaber out while he's skateboarding. Like it's wild. So
hilarious.
I'm curious about the New Game Plus mode. That can open up some options here for them. That's never like, I've never thought of Tony Hawk as a New Game Plus mode because it's more like a completionist game. Like you get all the career goals completed per map. And that's sort of like, and you'll always be able to return. So the idea of like finishing something and there's something else you can do when you come back is, I'm very interested to see how they describe that. But I think even if 4's career mode is different, I find it as a disappointment, but I think a lot of Tony Hawk diehards are actually going to prefer this. Like I think a lot of them are going to prefer the traditional gameplay format just with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4's maps. The only problem is 4's maps were made in mind with the mission structure. So it's not like 1 or 2 where you're like constantly hitting ramps and you're hitting like stair sets and railings, like where you'll just be setting up strings. Like a map like Alcatraz I mentioned earlier was so built around the missions that it's very like confined. And it's not easy to get a string going, especially with how many loading screens are on some of those maps. So I'm very curious how they handle some of that. Pro Skater 4 is definitely going to be the defining factor, I think, of this remake package. Is how I would break it down.
I'm looking at the comments. People are like, "Bro, we're so back." Grown man tears. So overall, seems positive, and I'm like, that's cool to see. You know, so now you guys are just waiting to get your hands on the 4, see how they handle that, see how they handle that mission structure, that kind of stuff.
The other victory is just that, like, you know, we saw how Vicarious Visions got folded in. Now we know it's Iron Galaxy. But with Vicarious being folded in, everyone was like, well, we're never going to get this again. And even though Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 were a success, but, you know, I think props to Tony Hawk. He seemed to keep pushing even after they shut it down. And he seems to really care about these games, which I think is rare from celebs. So I appreciate his push to make these kinds of things happen. And that Activision and Xbox in turn made this happen. Like that's the victory in all of this. Like it's good this exists. This is a series that should be, it was so important to my childhood that I'm like, this should be around for other people's childhoods. Absolutely. It gets people into skateboarding, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. You know, seeing, my thing is I always care about the games themselves living on.
Mm.
And that to me is so important. The fact that this franchise didn't just die out because of Activision's stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? That's the part I care about. When it comes down to it, it's the games, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this series did fizzle out, though. That's the thing that I don't think gets talked about enough with Tony Hawk is, in my opinion, like the last two entries. I mean, really, if you also include things like Tony Hawk Ride, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, Project 8 also, I thought really sucked. Like, there's a lot of bad Tony Hawk games as the lifespan. There's a reason it died. It wasn't like they had a really good thing and they just shut it down. It was like it was on its way out for a while. Then they brought it back with Pro Skater and it was awful. And Remake 1+2 is the shot in the arm. We're like, yes, we finally got it. Based on what I read, by the way, because again, I only played it for the first time this year.
Right.
But now it's awesome just to see like it's willed its way back again. Like it just won't go away. I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Especially because like, well, how EA to me is what I'm more of a skate fan nowadays.
Skate guy. Yeah.
But how EA is handling this current skate, like this sort of, it seems like live service model, this sort of free to play model. Anyone can skate anywhere. I don't know. It seems like it's still number one, not as far along as I expected it to be by this point. But number two is it doesn't feel connected with what I think made skate so awesome.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, we got rumors now, Cog. A new Gears of War rumor has arrived by way of Ecstasis, and here's the rough translation as provided by Pure Xbox. Quote, what my sources tell me is that Gears of War E-Day is increasingly far from even having the possibility of being released in 2025. It seems that every cloud has a silver lining. Again, this is a rough translation. Because according to the reports and according to what I am receiving in 2025, we will indeed have Gears. It has always been very difficult for me to confirm this, but it seems like we do have a Gears collection on the way. If everything continues according to plan, at least the plan as of today, which means that things can go wrong, is that the collection will be announced at the Xbox Game Showcase this year, and that in principle, it is planned to be launched in this same year. End quote. All right. Well, we have this right in here from the great Santini, Cog, and I don't think it was planned as, to be used for this topic, but, fate would have it that the stars would align for the great Santini. He writes, Dukes, I recently got a beefy gaming laptop that somehow had a 4090 in it, and with it, I became a first-time Game Pass subscriber. To my surprise and utter disappointment, the original Gears trilogy is not available on PC. What the hell is going on? I was looking forward to playing Gears 2 and 3 for the first time, but I guess I'm SOL. So, do you think they'll remaster the trilogy on PC anytime soon? Thanks for all you do. So, Cog, the rumor is back again, man. What's our faith level in this rumor at this point? Especially because now it involves like E-Day getting bumped, which we thought actually might be ahead of schedule based on our expectations at least. So, how do you feel about hearing the collections here again? The same year. About the thing that's strange to me is it's the same year that a Halo collection might move to other platforms, that you also do a Gears collection that's going to move to other platforms, which I think doing those in uniform is a smart idea, but it just seems like too well coordinated by Xbox to actually be what's happening here. So what's your vibe on the Gears of War collection?
Too damn streamlined. Yeah, it's a good one, man. Shout out to Xstasis. I don't know. I'm torn because I initially stood on my square that this was in a world where I thought Fable was 2025, right? So in a world where Fable was 2025, but like Gears E-Day, there's no way. We just saw you. You're gonna need time. 2026 the earliest. And my thought process is that, to the great Santini's point, now that we're, this is an Xbox, multi-platform publisher, biggest publisher gaming approach, you need to get the PC community, the Nintendo Switch community, and the PlayStation community in tune with what Gears is. So collection did finally make sense to say, okay, you know what? That has to be a precursor before E-Day.
Especially because E-Day's story ties into that, right? So
you got to know who these characters are before you can start doing prequels and, that's just me. So, and the fact that I didn't even realize that Santini said that 2 and and 3, the trilogy is not on it. Because I remember they had the Gears remaster of part 1. That was early during the Xbox when I actually flexed. Got a chance to play test that with the great Rod Ferguson back then.
Wow, okay.
Flex, when it was launched and it was 1080-60. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And Ferguson was awesome. He was awesome. And it was huge. But 2 and 3 never received that treatment, right? So 2 and 3, they need to do that. especially with now how many games PC gamers are buying, right? A lot of the data is coming out with PC gaming as far as software sales are concerned is on the rise. They need this trilogy to come out. So my guess is that, yes, I will stand on the collection. I give you, special Nick, I'll give you your flower. I stand on that. That makes sense that it comes out this year. Now, here's the controversy. That's what I want to ask you, Manny. There's a part of me that if you do this collection, are you really going to do the multiplayer, though? Now, I know it may seem sacrilegious to some to say, hey, just give them the campaign and not the multiplayer. But if you plan on doing E-Day eventually, aren't you going to want to maintain those servers and bring people to a new form of multiplayer on Gears? And I don't know what the player count of. Look, I'm very slanderous. The Xbox community does not like me when I say that, bro. I think multiplayer is trash. I'm sorry. I don't like Gears multiplayer. I think it's hot garbage. That is roll around shotgun. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if you got the data that people are still playing this, please show me. Because as far as I know, no one's playing Gears multiplayer like that. So, and plus, from my understanding, the original on back compat, those servers are still up. So I just struggle, Maddie, to see them making a Gears collection and then also making a multiplayer collection you know what I mean? Of that. I just struggle because Master Chief Collection was a unique thing. It was a suite of all the games that was specifically built from the ground up to go between game and game. I don't see them doing that with the Gears collection, and it don't have that popularity like that. So if it's up to me, Gears collection comes with no multiplayer. Gears E-Day, either whether it comes next year or this, that will have a multiplayer component, and that will be cross-platform because it makes sense to get the new one going. But that's just me. What do you think? Am I bugging? I know it's a controversial take, but that's just where I'm at with it.
You to just make sure I understand, you think because Gears collection multiplayer might siphon from the E-Day multiplayer base, it might make sense to just not do the collection multiplayer.
Correct. Okay. Just the multiplayer. Just do the remastering of the campaigns 1, 2, and 3, and potentially Judgment, and say, okay, here you go, PC community, Nintendo Switch community, PlayStation community. Now you know what Gears is, and then boom, now you know what it is. Here's E-Day, and now it's our new, output, our new effort with a new multiplayer. Here you go. But I mean, maybe I don't. If you're a Gears collection multiplayer guy and I'm being disrespectful, let me know.
It's funny because there was this rumor. I don't know if I believe it, but this individual Detective Seed said he started with a tweet. This was 21 hours ago, saying Gears of War collection should be releasing early to mid August. It is PS5 Pro enhanced, and I've been told no multiplayer PvP, campaign focused only. That's why I thought you were saying it. And then he followed up the quote tweet. He said, for further on Gears of War collection, the game is loaded on the PS5 store front on the back end. This is the same with others I have said in the past. It shows one player and does not show support for additional players. I asked about co-op clarification yet.
Okay.
And I will just say this, dude. I don't want to get riled up by a rumor from, I don't know if this is really well sourced or not, but if true, I could live without the multiplayer, but no co-op would be the dumbest fucking thing.
They can't do that. Yeah.
If that's even a starter thought for them, like, we can't do that. I'm just like, don't do it then. Just don't do it. Like, you were signing up to get torn apart for months for not including a core Gears of War feature. Like, no multiplayer. Like, I'll just say, I think they should do that too. I think it's really important. Like, if you're Xbox, it's like, you need people to engage with your product. If they end up liking Gears Collection more than E-Day, that happened with, I think, Infinite and the Master Chief Collection. That's okay. Like, Xbox, it reminds me of a little bit is with Bethesda, when people are like, oh, I still play Skyrim way more than Fallout 4. But Todd has always been like, well, around that time, he's like, well, we made those too. Like, we don't mind. If you're playing our games, that's a win for us. So if you're Xbox, the win for them is like, you're engaging with their products. And if this is a compelling offering, which it should be, you need to put multiplayer there, I think. I'm not going to lose my mind in that I am awful at Gears multiplayer and I never enjoyed it. But I know many people have. And I would love to see a lot of PlayStation and Switch fans suddenly get like bounced around by some dude who knows how to, what's the term for the shotgun with oh my God, bro. I can't believe I'm forgetting this term.
Was it curb stomp? And then we got
No, it was when you would like elbow them and then immediately shoot them. There is a term.
There's a term for it.
On the tip of my tongue, dude. What is it?
Hardcore Gears term that you don't even
Oh,
remember.
no, we're looking really bad right now.
I'm just joking.
How is it called? I'm going to look it up after because it's going to bug the hell out of me. But I would love to see people kind of go through that learning process of whatever that term is called. But I think, dude, if there's no co-op, there's no way. Bad choice. But I also don't know how you do co-op and no multiplayer. I don't know.
Look, I get where you're going. And I get from the purity of the product standpoint. I get that. I guess how I look at it is the complexity now of being a the biggest publisher in gaming, multi-platform, your game's going everywhere. And I'm just thinking of like Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox guys now playing it, making servers to accommodate it. What is it called? It's called a two-piece?
Two-piece. That's what it is.
Nice.
I was like, what the hell is it called?
Nice. I just think of the infrastructure complexity to do it. And maybe if you gave me an example, like Sea of Thieves, we know the whole thing is online. I'm trying to think of a game that would help me say, okay, all right, Cog, they've done it before. You need to calm down. It's not that big a deal. I just can't think of an example because it seems like every game that they've done in this new multi-platform strategy hasn't reached all the platforms yet. Because Forza is not on Switch. Sea of Thieves is not on Switch. Wait, Grounded may be an all, but then Grounded is co-op but no multi. I haven't seen a game that's multiplayer.
Yeah.
That has specifically been Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC all together. Because that I'm just looking at the undertaking of all of them for this kind of niche audience. I'm in my corporate cog bag for sure. I am not pro gamer right now.
You think the Gears audience would be like niche to Xbox? You think they would? I feel like that's a staple for Xbox. Like I put that with Forza and Halo as like we should just run this thing as high as we can because we're going to collect on this for years.
No, for the franchise as a franchise name and the title and the weight of it. Yes, I'm just looking at the multiplayer component. I would be interested to see if they could pull that off because prior to this, Halo is the actual game that has to show it, right? And we know Halo is strong enough from a multiplayer, I'm talking about from a PvP only perspective. Is what I'm trying to get at. Is I know, okay, boom, that's going to work. They're going to get that. The tech is old enough and they can do it against all these platforms. I just struggle with Gears or Remaster. I'll be honest. I'm looking at Nintendo Switch. I'll be honest. I'm looking at you a little sideways. I'm going to be honest, right? Does Microsoft wants to put that level of technical infrastructure and effort and resources to get your community going? Remember, Xbox is all about cross-play, right? So it's just like, I'm just curious. Look, if they do it, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. That is really committing to the vision. I struggle to see if they go actually do it, but hey, let's see.
I think they're going. I feel like they set a standard for themselves with the Gears with the Halo collection. Like I feel for all the shit it kind of launched in, people may agree or disagree with this. I don't know, but like I kind of feel like it ended up being worth it because there's no collection like the Master Chief collection. There's no all-in-one.
Oh yeah,
here's all your campaigns. Here's all of your multiplayer. They could also, the thing with Master Chief Collection that was brilliant is they supported that for years, dude. They're like, here's Reach, here's ODST. Like, there's a way where they can do that with Gears. Like, you already have one. We're packaging that in from the Ultimate Edition. There's no changes there. Here's 2, here's 3. And they add 4 and 5 later. Like, I think Judgment as well. Like, I think there's a roadmap there for them where they don't have to put all of their chips on the board. They just have, I say just as if it's really easy, but you just really have to focus on incorporating one existing product with the other 2 that have already, kind of like Legendary Edition for Mass Effect, right?
Right.
You had a lot of heavy work done on Mass Effect 1, but 2 and 3 were good enough on their own to just kind of get a visual uptick, and they were good, right? They still required work, but 1 got the most reworking. So in this case, like 1's already been mostly reworked, and they all have really strong gameplay. I mean, I just replayed all of these games recently, and I'm like, okay, so you just got to make these already good-looking games shine a little brighter, put them all in a SKU, And somehow they all share an engine too. So that was the thing that Master Chief Collection struggled with, was like the swapping of different engines, an engine that swapped engines. Right. So I wonder if Gears, because of the shared engine, it's all in Unreal, if that would also make it easier for them.
Yeah, it's a good technical question. That's something I would love to, be a fly on the wall with Coalition, with the undertaking, because again, I know where my fear is coming from. I remember that. Now I know where it's coming. It's coming from. I remember we talked about. We have a lot of people have revisionist history when it comes to the Xbox One. Me and you both agree that the Xbox One launch lineup was extremely superior, in my opinion, at that time. And what was supposed to happen, bro, was the slam dunk with the Master Chief Collection at that point, remember? And then they fumbled the ball. And remember, the key thing is we didn't understand. They said that we didn't understand the technical undertaking it took to make a suite like this. And my worry is, can they still put something together? But to your point, it may be easier. It may be easier because Gears is not as complex as how Halo's robust engines and all these different multiplayers. But we'll see. Look, I'm not rooting against it to happen. I would just be surprised if it did. That's what my position is.
Well, that's what Xbox should strive to do with all their resources. They should be able to surprise us in really good ways like that. So I hope they do. I think a lot of people would be, I think the worst thing you can do for a game you announce is have something that immediately douses the flame. And I think for that, it would be like, Gears is back, but there's no multiplayer. And I think really what would be worse is no co-op. I think that's my hot take.
I agree.
That's my hot take. Like, I think if you do no co-op, like, just don't even bother, because like this, especially there are parts of the campaign literally built for co-op.
The whole game is made of co-op. Yeah, there's no way I can see that happen. I would agree. If they did that, they might as well not even come outside.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you gotta, if you're trying to, the other thing is, if you're trying to sell people on Gears, like, you gotta show them what made Gears so popular. And the campaigns are phenomenal, but it wasn't just like a single player romp third person shooter. It was doing it with a friend, and the horde mode as well. If you get rid of multiplayer, like, you can't do the horde mode either. And that was huge for them with, I think, Gears 2. So, I just, if they don't do any sort of multiplayer, I just, bad choice.
I feel you.
All right, Cog. Next up here, let's talk a bit about Expedition 33. Some previews went out. Michael Alady writes in, Maddie, GameSpot published an article titled, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is picking up where Lost Odyssey left off. How excited are you? Honestly, I'm always skeptical when it comes to ambitious new games from first-time developers. Of course, there are exceptions like Liza P and Stellar Blade, but more often than not, these games have great ideas, only one or two of which are actually well executed. The entire marketing campaign for Expedition 33 revolves around its combat and story, and that worries me. What happens between fights? Are there side quests, loot, minigames, puzzles? Am I the only one concerned? I get you, Michael. I think this has actually been a pretty honest look at what the game is. And if you're not seeing it, it's not there. What we're seeing is very much Lost Odyssey stuff. Like, it is very pretty environments, a little bit of Final Fantasy 13 energy. Like, some of them look very linear from what I watched in the previews, and a lot of combat. The other thing is, I don't know how well connected the story is going to be. I hope it's great, but if you kind of go in expecting that, I think you should be all right from what I'm seeing. I will say, I don't usually get preview envy. I had it a little bit when I saw this.
Right.
I saw that. I was like, bro, I'm almost offended. I'm almost hurt by this one.
Facts.
In all seriousness, I think the light concerns are fair. But look, you got to give them credit in one thing already. They are doing something very different with turn-based combat. They're bringing in action elements. They've said you can do a no-hit run in a turn-based game. That's unheard of.
Wow.
That's like just really cool that they've made a system that can do that. That's an accomplishment. So as a first-time developer, and I'm not speaking for myself, but I mean, like, as these first-time developers, what we've seen is most new studios focus on doing 1 to 3 things really well. And then if they did a Claire Obscure Expedition 34, or whatever they do call a sequel, that's where you add in your mini game, side quests, whatever else. Think about how 7 Remake from Square Enix, who's been making games for generations now, jumped from that to Rebirth. Look at how you can just kick the door down when you have your content library ready to go. Your systems are ready to go. You just content build so much faster. This team had to build from the ground up. And so I imagine the content iteration is not as strong in their first game, especially for how visually beautiful things are. Like they have to make a lot of assets look really good. Like there's a quality bar clearly set there. So I wouldn't expect this to be like it's gonna. I think maybe the main story will hold you for a while. We've seen the overworld and stuff. Like they're pushing it, man. Like, but I get the skepticism around it a little bit, But I think for a first time game from a team that's challenging RPG goats, it kind of reminds me of Lies of P, where I'm like, yeah, I see things I've seen before, but like you're new and you're doing them so well down to like you have their playbook. So I thought the previews looked great. Did you have a chance to check them out?
A little bit, man. I'm mad at myself because I'm like, man, this just kind of came out of nowhere. Yep. What you mean everybody got previews?
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, I was hanging my head a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love that one, man. If I'm with you. Look, we got to start from this game. From the minute we saw it, looks absolutely phenomenal. It looks like a love letter to the Lost Odysseys, the JRPGs that we've been wanting for so long. And obviously we talked about the cast. We talk about, I just love seeing France in this way. Mm-hmm. And when I seen the Eiffel and the corrupted thing, I was like, the imagery is beautiful. Yeah. I'm now starting to get warmed up with the drip of the main character, because I was like, damn, I hope they got some other outfit choices besides the same, kind of look with this outfit. But I'm warming up to it. But look, they've got a little bit of the active parry. They said some Psycho vibes in there on some things, but you could use the dodge. You don't have to play that way. You can play a very specific way. So I thought that was cool. Look, it looks very robust. I understand the homie's concern, and that is going to be something which will be revealed once we get our hands on it. Yeah. Does it truly live up to the aspects of the classics that we all know? But what the vibe I'm getting is kind of like similar to what you said, like a Lies of P vibe. These are people who love the games that we love making a game. So it feels like the sensibilities are there. And to me, my main thing is just, does that narrative hit the way it's supposed to? And so far, I like the idea of like, this is the 33rd expedition. And, anybody around above this age is getting exterminated. It's just a very unique kind of, vibe. And it seems cool. So loot, we don't know, mini games, puzzles, we don't, there's still questions. But every early indication feels strong, feels good. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it seems like they're looking at like a skill system more than like loot system. And I think that's okay, because what's the beauty of the RPG genre to me is you can design them in so many ways. Like I just beat 10-2, and while I have a lot of critiques of it, like one thing that's cool about it is because there are so many jobs, in the game that you can switch to, your only equipment in the game is your 2 accessories, really. Otherwise, it's the job. That's your equipment. And it is a really interesting way of thinking about it. It's like when you switch your dress sphere, it's like that changes your stats and everything, as if your armor, your weapon, everything would. So it's a really, it's streamlined, but in a good way. So I guess I just think about that as a recent thing I played, and I'm like, there are so many ways you could think about RPGs that doesn't even require your weapon changing once. Especially if you're doing like class-based stuff where like each of these characters does a specific thing. Then that's even better, because now you've got like special uses. Like speaking of Final Fantasy X-2, it's like, let's go back to 10. Like you had Riku, who was a thief. You had Lulu, who was a dark mage, or black mage. Sorry. Like you had, every character had their own focus per se, and because you could swap characters in without spending a turn, it kind of just gave you this more strategic flexibility of getting everyone involved in a fight. So. Again, there's a lot of ways of thinking about an RPG. It's tough to judge these sorts of things from afar, in my opinion.
I want to add in what you said. And one of the developer meetings, shout out to, I think it was Jeff Rubenstein. He had them on the Xbox podcast earlier. And one of the things the developers told him was that, you could play this specific character this way, right? You can make it that. And I was like, okay, that's a little diversity. Like, and there seems to be like a lot of endless potential combinations and variations that you can do. You're not necessarily locked in, and I'm going to get into it. It kind of got a little bit of our energy in that respect. Like I kind of like that. I'm like, I thought this character has to be this. And the way Expedition 33 was like, oh no, you can. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm curious with that. They even themselves said you could come up with some powerful combinations and strats depending on the things that you incorporate. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The class fluidity is, I think, something the RPG community is embracing a lot. Metaphor is really the spearhead for it. You know, baby. Anyone can be anything, but Metaphor, I think there's still a higher ceiling. Because Metaphor was still pretty defined. Like, I didn't move people out of their pockets that they kind of started in most times.
Right.
Yeah. So
I got you.
I'm very excited for Expedition 33 still. That's April this year. Counting down the days. Hideki Kamiya still wants to make Scalebound. He said, I'd love to make it happen again someday. And he was talking about it when reviewing some old footage. He was reminiscing with his team. Whoa. He's like, he was literally said in the video, he's like, still looks good to this day, huh? Like, he was on memory. So just wanted to bring this back up for people that at least one party is still willing to make Scalebound happen. And I do wonder if, I mean, this is like one of those canceled games that's been kicking around forever. Like, people just keep bringing it up. Like, Xbox has not escaped the cancellation of Scalebound since it happened. So do you think there's just for a fun little thought experiment, do you think there's a chance this ever comes back?
There's a chance. The reason why is because, again,
Ninja Gaiden 4 made me a believer personally. I was like, okay.
Ninja Gaiden definitely made me more hopeful. I will say that, like we talked about Scalebound, that whole cancellation, this was definitely one of the black eyes in the Xbox era, you know, of a game being canceled and stuff like that. And it was, you know, one of those really highly anticipated exclusives. But the vibe from this always told me that Kamiya was in the wrong, right? And whatever happened, the blame was on them, and they feel contrite. There's a level of, we have to make that right. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, and it's because I know that man. I bet that man he's very prideful. He's not as humble as you think. Yeah. So for him, they fumbled the bag. That's what this shows me. Now the key is going to be like, you've got to have I think Xbox would hear them out, but they've got to have a pitch and a build that is so impressive that Xbox say, okay, you know what? Let's run it back. But we are going to have more say and not leave you to your own devices like we did last time. Because the vibe I got last time, they were left to their own devices, and the principal came and showed up at the workplace when people weren't ready and seen, where's everybody at? What's going on with this money we gave y'all?
Why are the lights not on?
Exactly. Why the nights? Like, where's it? It's a Friday. Everybody's at the club. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm just joking. But I definitely feel Platinum was in the wrong at that point. And he wants to make this right. He really believes in this idea. So, you know, look, Phil, I mean, I got to say Craig Duncan,
yeah.
You know, Matt, like, if he has a good working build and pitch and project, I think you do need to at least hear it out. And if it's good, go for it.
I don't know why they wouldn't if he had the build. You know, I mean, the idea is right there. It's just waiting to be explored. I think this would be a good win, optically speaking. Ninja Gaiden 4 kind of felt like that, but you know, with getting this sort of redemption on Scalebound would be really cool. I mean, there's a few games. Did Phantom Dust ever come out?
Oh, just a remaster, right? I mean, the back compat.
Yeah, that's what it was, right? But
that's about it. They brought it from that because I know it was.
I thought they said they were going to do a new one. Like, I don't remember if that was Xbox or not.
Phil loves that game.
There was a couple of canceled games during that gen. That was I want to say that was one, but I could be misremembering. Someone can correct.
Yes, Scalebound was the biggest black eye. That was another black eye in the Xbox One generation.
Yeah,
many eyes that were blackened. Yes, during that gen.
All right. Well, this one gets a little interesting, Cog, because we're going back to the rumors of Call of Duty in 2026. So this Call of Duty leaker, Ghost of Hope, has floated around our show a few times in the past, and they had some exclusive details on Modern Warfare 4 to share. They say no old gen support, traditional UI like the older games, more traditional than Black Ops 6. The engine's being overhauled to address the MW2 problems like visual clutter. It's being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox, and no Warzone 3 if Verdansk fails to retain current/returning players. And Someone said, how powerful is this next Xbox going to be? He says, wondering the same thing, but I'll die on the hill that it's coming in late 2026 with how much I've continued to hear about it, including IW literally having dev kits in use. Ooh. How are we feeling, Cog? Are these new consoles hitting next year?
It's a good question, man. I'm struggling because initially I was on the 2026 bandwagon. And look, we know the development of Call of Duty being tied to it is very important now that they have ABK, and you want to associate that with a new console for sure. I think what's most important here, as I take a step back, is that old gen support is being removed. Mm-hmm. That's the most important because we are still dragging the Xbox One and PS4 with us. So now what I'm seeing is a cutoff, right?
Yeah.
So that does give me credence that next gen is coming, right? Because current gen will have a cutoff from the old gen. That makes sense. Gun to my head, probably gonna go against my initial prediction. I'm still gonna say it still feels a little soon because even though they have the titles, right? They'll have a crazy lineup. Will the hardware be finalized in time? That's my question. I just worry about the development cycle. So look, I'm not going to be opposed if it's ready. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be. That's a hell of a look to have a potentially a new Call of Duty, a new Fable, State of Decay, a Clockwork Revolution is the 2026 lineup, right? Is what we're thinking.
Yeah,
that would be amazing slew of games to put in conjunction with a console in conjunction with Game Pass. So we will see. There's a part of me now that says maybe 2027. There's just a little bit more time for development. But I will say this. I won't say I'm not saying the rumor is wrong. I'm not saying because I believe there may be some dev kits going out and they have a technical framework of what the specifications will be. Yeah. But will the console be ready for it? I don't know. What do you think?
It's a tight window. I think, let's think here. I think Xbox can come around with a new system in different ways, right?
Okay.
Like, I think the way people are thinking about Xbox consoles is a little too typical of generations. And I think based on what we're seeing, if this is an Xbox and whatnot, that like new hardware could be in the form of other manufacturers. And so I feel like this person could be hearing, we have a new dev kit and it could be one of those, like we'll call it a licensed Xbox piece of hardware. It could be like that rather than the official next generation of Xbox. Because as much as I want to buy onto this reset idea, the early reset, like Xbox getting ahead of things, I can't lie that part of what was driving that idea was old Xbox's kind of approach of what we saw in 2023. Because then I'm like, hit the reset button, get ahead, create that gap, do the 360 moment. But now their business strategy is so radically changed that their hardware is such a minimal driver for them that it is absolutely like the C option, right? Like I'd say option B is just getting games everywhere first. And by that, I mean like your apps on smart TVs, not like what they're literally doing with option A, which is like, put these games on every storefront. So I just think hardware is that backseat where maybe they talked 2026. I don't think those rumors just spawn out of nowhere, but that you'll just see more places to play Xbox over the coming years. And that whenever, like 2027 does sound like a good window of like when we'll really start seeing next generation. Because what I will say is like now seeing Xbox's major pivot and approach to things, I'm like, this feels too soon now. And it feels way too soon. Like we're just getting, I hate to say it, like it's not ideal, but we are just like getting started, unfortunately. Like, it's just been such a shit year for our generation in the terms of just development woes and getting games out the door. It's been slow. It's been a drag, but it feels like now we're kicking off the layoffs. Every studio is running an optimal business now, or so they say. So I feel like things should start turning up and turning out at a quicker clip. I hope. We're seeing AI technology progress, which no doubt, whether I agree with it or not, these companies are going to embrace and should get stuff out the door quicker. So in a lot of ways, it feels like we've just started, which sucks. But, if you're telling me next year you're going to buy new hardware from Xbox and it's like the official next generation, I'd be like, feels a little like I'm not ready for that yet. Now, if there's different ways to play or different places to play Xbox, like it's got that branding, but it's like another manufacturer, that makes a little more sense to me personally.
Yeah, I think you're fine. I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly how I feel in the sense of I love the other manufacturer call out because that is an option here in this new philosophy they've adopted. And you made a good point. All of this sounded great when we were talking about this from a perspective of Xbox prioritizing hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we know that they are not, now that we know what the hardware situation is, this seems too aggressive right now because that's not the focus. The focus is the games everywhere and not necessarily rushing out the hardware per se. So I'm with you. I think you nailed it. I think that's why I've shifted on the 2026 thing a bit.
Yeah. So we'll see what ends up happening, but no doubt we're going to see hardware of some kind when, the Switch is transitioning. I'm sure there's going to be new ways to play Xbox. So you'll see hardware. I just don't know if it'll be new Xbox console generation then.
Agreed.
All right, Cog. Next up on the news here, Monster Hunter Wilds has sold 8 million copies in 3 days. Eesh, bro. For comparison, Worlds was like 5 million in the same stretch of time. So that was already explosive. I'm sure Capcom would have been happy with those numbers, but this is, when you saw it was like over 1 million concurrent on Steam alone, very surprised as well, because I know Monster Hunter is like super popular, but there seems to be some disagreements about this entry of the series. Like there are some people who are like, it's way too easy. Why is there a focus on the story? I just want to go out and play, et cetera, et cetera. And I've chosen to skip out on it because I've just been playing a lot of catch up on my backlog, as I'll talk about. But it kind of, some of the unanimous praise of like a World or a Rise, that's what got me out to get those. But Wild I have been reading more like Reddit posts and stuff and just like watching how the community's talking about it. And there has been a little bit of like, this is still great, but like not on the level I was hoping for, whether it be too easy or too annoying to get into, like there's too much of a grind early on, like those sorts of things. But still a magnificent success for Capcom. The writing was on the wall when we saw those beta numbers, but here we have 8 million copies, 3 days. What's our take, Cog?
Bro, who's doing it better than Capcom right now?
Yeah.
Capcom is just beyond on fire, bro. Like, I'm just so proud of them. Obviously, I'm not a Monster Hunter guy, but I understand what the importance is. And shout out to Brad, man. We did Summon Sign this week. It was me, him, and Hogue. And he was talking about it as a hardcore, Monster Hunter guy. I am seeing the rumblings from the hardcore community, like, okay, it's good. We like it. It's a little easier, kind of energy. And I'm hearing the narrative aspect. Some people are like, okay, it's cool you're attempting this, but we want to try to get out to the hunt, bro. Like stop, get out of my way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't care enough about that. But it's vintage Monster Hunter and a lot of improvements that Brad was talking about that was really cool in terms of the combat and stuff like that. And even Hulk said he, was enjoying his time with it. So yeah, this is tremendous. 8 million, tremendous success, man. Salute to them. And I just love that Capcom has this balance right now with their big IPs, bringing older stuff back that deserves it. Also taking risks on the Kami and what's our joint? Kami, the joint with the wolf.
Oh,
right?
Kami, yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, they are just in a perfect pocket right now, and I'm super proud of Capcom. They're doing it right.
Yeah, agreed. So congrats to them on the tremendous success. Sega, though, is another publisher doing really well, but maybe they could have been doing a little bit better if Sonic Unleashed got ported to PC bit earlier. Fans have done it. Sonic modding community has always been amazing, and they have ported Sonic Unleashed to PC. Very interesting news, not just because like, oh, Maggie's a Sonic fan, he's including this as like a home team thing. We're actually going to get into like what this can mean for other games. RK128 naturally has the right end.
Yes,
always got to pick up when Sonic's got the news.
Lord Sonic.
Blessed day, Blue Blur Matty, and Unleashed Cog. If you weren't aware, the Sonic community impresses again with another PC port. Through decompilation, the 360 version of Sonic Unleashed is playable on PC without emulation. It offers higher resolution options, frame rate improvements, and more quality of life changes. While I'm excited for this as a huge Sonic fan, the bigger story is that the tools used for this project are now open source, meaning any 360 game with enough work could run natively on PC. What do you both make of these efforts? Do you think Microsoft will reach out to the team and leverage these tools for bringing the 360 backcompat library to PC? I'll stand on the fact that the Werehog isn't that bad, just not what fans wanted kind of day. I don't disagree. I think the Warehog sections are actually pretty good, RK. I think it's the music, the Sonic Unleashed soundtrack. Like I'm unironically saying it is a complete vibe. I encourage anyone to go and like listen to some of the town tracks in that game. They're amazing. And when you're like roaming these levels, you're like, this is such a vibe, bro. And then it just gets broken up with this jazzy combat music that's so repetitive. That's all I would need, because I don't even think Sonic Unleashed is that great. But that is all I would personally need to buy that game again. Is like, oh, you removed the annoying combat music. Awesome. That's all I need. All I need.
Savage.
But no, that's not even a hot take. That is like why
that is universal. Is this a Keanu like take?
No. Yeah, that's why I need to make it clear. This is not a Keanu moment for me. This is a like, I think the Sonic community's got my back on this one. I know we all think that music is trash.
I'm gonna hit up Arcade. All right, we'll find out.
I would be surprised if Arcade did not agree with me completely on that.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, this is through decompilation, which is like, this is all new to me, so I'm not gonna try to act like I know fully what I'm talking about. But the idea here is that we have the opportunity to bring 360 games to PC without emulation. And I mean, I'm sure all of us have ideas that jump to our head. Lost Odyssey, we were just talking about. I'm like, there you go. Like that can make the jump. Higher resolution options, better frame rate options, and again, quality of life enhancements through this manner of porting games. I'd be surprised if there weren't companies looking into it. If it can unlock this sort of potential where Sonic Unleashed has this natural sort of PC port existing. Very, very interesting stuff here. But what do you make of the port here? Of course, if you have thoughts on Sonic, let me know. But really, what do you make of this tool and what could come of it? And do you have like a 360 game that jumps to mind that you're like, yeah, I would love to see that come to PC?
Oh, bro, so many. I mean, as a gamer, this type of stuff is super dope. See the community come back and use these tools and open source and really bring back, revive franchises that are beloved. It's awesome. What I worry about is corporate control and greed and who holds licenses and who wants to do what. And that is what usually gets in the way of bringing beloved things back, right? So yeah, the perfect world, I would love like how Bethesda reaches out to the community and like, with certain things and gets these guys that do mods and bring them on the team and stuff like that. You want to support that kind of stuff, but I just don't know the technical legalese. This is again probably a Hogue question.
Good question, yeah.
In terms of why Microsoft or any other big corp wouldn't, reach out when these gamers are doing stuff that the community wants, and there's got to be more to it, kind of thing. Oh, it could be just simple greed. it could just very well be. It should be simple greed. I could be overstated.
Oh yeah. That's unfortunately what happens. You get these good tools, big corps start to lick their chops a little bit. They're like, oh, what do you got there? I can use that to make some money. And the good news for at least Sonic fans is like Sega has always been, I'll be curious to see how they react to this. I don't want to speak too soon, but like Sega's usually really cool with their Sonic community. Like I think of Sonic P06, like that is one of the best feeling Sonic games. It is I think it's a Unity remake of Sonic 06, if I'm remembering correctly. And it still has like all the stages and everything. It's been popular for years, like millions of views type popular. Like Sega knows about it, has not shut it down. I think they are in that Bethesda spot of like, they know this modding community in a lot of ways has saved Sonic, so they're not going to really step on their toes. And if anything, they know that it's going to make them more popular, like because there's just a love for Sonic, like the FPS boost for generations.
Oh, that was lit.
And also Sonic Unleashed, like these games run perfectly fine on back compat consoles, if you will, or through back compat. Sorry. So like Sega could have just been like tossing their hands there and been like, why do we even do Sonic X Shadow Generations? Why resell a game that, is already running fine in back compat and looks great in back compat?
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So I don't think this is going to stop them at all. I do think if you're like, if someone's like, oh, I'm going to take, I don't know, this is a good example because I think Bully's on PC, but like if you were to mess with like a Take-Two property, oh, dude, they're going to kick down your fucking door.
Oh, bro, they ain't playing.
They're going to be like, no. We might sell this one day.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we might. So I think there are some that will be cool with it, but there are others that will not be. And we already have we've seen companies establish themselves
Oh yeah.
You know, where I think we know who would permit it and who wouldn't. Like, I don't think an EA would be like, yeah, go right ahead. I don't think Take-Two would be like, go right ahead. I do see Xbox looking into it for sure. There's so much gain for them there in that whole Play Anywhere initiative.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, I'm sure teams like Night Dive, I'm sure teams like Limited Run are going to look at this, because that's like, there's just so many business avenues with that kind of tool set. Like, oh, wait, we can we can ship these sorts of games on other platforms. You know, all these companies want to double dip right now, especially in this economy. Consumers want safe purchases. Companies want to resell you the same shit because they don't want to spend too much on making a new thing. So we'll see. But next up, got a little bit of news here, Cog. Small one. If you got thoughts, let me know. I personally don't have any. But Turok Dinosaur Hunter, a surprise dropped from, speaking of which, Night Dive Studios on Xbox and PS5 for $20.
Wow, I didn't even know about this. No, news to me. Yeah. You know, I'm indifferent with Turok. I don't have like that history with it. I remember it. Was it a Nintendo 64 game debut from back in the day?
Yeah, Turok's had a lot of entries.
Yeah,
I don't know shit about it.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I never really had. I don't know what it is. I think I have a bias against dinosaur games. I got to work on that. Yeah, I don't think I played outside of Dino Crisis and Exoprimal. No, I did play. Yeah, you're right.
But that's
about it. I don't really.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Dino Crisis. I watched Jurassic Park for the first time not first time, I've seen it before, but like, I am cognizant of Jurassic Park for the first time. My brain wasn't developing. Yeah, dude, I'm like in the same boat as you. I was never like a dino guy. I was also never like a big, this one I know you'll disagree with because you're a Transformers fan, but I was never like a big mech guy either. Like, I was never. Yeah. I always, I don't know if it was like an ego thing. I've told you about this, but like in Battlefield, when I played Battlefield, like I was always boots on the ground guy. Like, I was like, no, I'm not getting in the tank. Like, I don't want to, that's too, I was like, that's too easy.
Yeah, I feel like you cheating. Yeah, feel like
it feels wrong. Like,
you're messing up the integrity of the game.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like a psychological issue I got to investigate, because there were even games sometimes that I wouldn't drive around in because I'm like a Mafia 3. I loved running around that world. Like, I intentionally didn't drive places because the world was so well built that I was like, if I drive by, I'm just missing
out
all this good stuff. Like, I want to see the NPC interactions and stuff. So I mean, kudos to the developers for making such a great world in that case. But I wonder if that's a me problem.
Yeah, it's a good call out. I think I share some sensibilities there.
Yeah. This one's really cool. Terminator 2D No Fate arrives on September 5th. It's like a classic 2D shoot 'em up style game. If anyone has not checked out the trailer and you are a fan of Terminator 2, look into this. It is literally like a better like, okay, you know how like back then, you know, like on these older systems like SNES or whatever, NES, like you'd get these like tie-in movie games that were just like not good at all, but like this has that energy of like, oh, it's a tie-in game, but the art is so good and it just it looks so fun to play.
They got the classic scene from the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, good looking, man. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, it's really okay. Cool. I love that movie.
Hey, yo, with the pixel art. Oh, they got him butt naked in the club punching. That season of the movie. Yo, oh, this is me. This is a love letter. 2D joint.
Yeah.
Oh, this is out. When is this out?
September 5th.
Oh, good looking, man. This is a good look.
Yeah.
This is a good look. I didn't know about this.
They announced this randomly. I think it was over the last weekend, and I saw it. I was like, I put it in our notes immediately. I was like, oh, dude, I got to tell people about this. But then even my editor, Dan, was like, he sent it to me. He was like, bro, what the fuck? He's like, I had no idea this existed. This is.
Oh, bro. Let me tell you how deep cut I just saw. The continue sign is from the movie, the classic sinking into the lot. Oh, bro. You understand, like Terminator 2, like next to Matrix 1, Terminator 2 is arguably the GOAT movie for me. Like this movie hits every chord. And Terminator 1 was amazing, but Terminator 2 is a perfect movie.
We have similar movies too. Matrix is a top 5 for me, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Terminator, bro, that's why like there's a part of me that I don't acknowledge any other Terminator movie. Now, I'll watch them, but to me, the series was over after Terminator 2. It was the perfect, bro. You just good look. My bro hooked me up. Woo, thank you for putting me on it. I didn't even know about this.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad.
I want it going down right now. If I'm distracted, just pay me no mind.
All right. Well, I'll take over this next one while you pre-order because frankly, I don't know if you'll have much to say about this creepy game at the park. Jason Schreier has reported a new Lego game is on the way within the next year. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because WB has been in a funky spot. This was when Jason was on the Kind of Funny Games cast, and he dove into a number of things, like just kind of the fallout of WB. He got a lot into WB Games Montreal, where I don't think their fate is sealed per se, but I do think they're in a very dicey spot where if they don't get a project greenlit this year, I think they might also go. That, you know, I know it's not classy to make those types of predictions, but I to be honest, like when they're making these sorts of cuts based on teams that can't get projects off the ground, like a Monolith, which was struggling to get a project off the ground until 8 years after their last game. When you look at the kind of gaps that you see in WB Montreal's portfolio, whether it be their fault or WB corporate, by the way, I'm not fully blaming them, because his reporting did give me some sympathy for WB Montreal that I didn't have before. It sounds like there's a very tough pitch environment for WB, but nonetheless, if they can't get something off the ground this year, I'm like, it'll have been 4 years since your last game came out, and you're just starting now. So they're setting themselves up for another like decade long gap of releases, and their games just aren't good enough to wait that long. I love Arkham Origins. Gotham Knights wasn't worth the wait, and I hope whatever they do next is worth the wait, but certainly they're not in a great position to succeed there. So that was like the main takeaway outside of the Lego game, but the Lego game especially, I was like, good, excellent. I cannot wait. I love Lego games. Yeah, bro.
So
I'm very curious what they're going to do, though. Skywalker Saga felt like a swan song kind of game in a lot of ways. I was like, this is like the penultimate Lego game, right? Like it all started with Lego Star Wars. Lego Star Wars was such a force. Pardon the pun. I did not mean to do that, but it really was. And those are classics. And now you get this game that's like, we got every episode there. It's an ambitious Lego game, right? And I hadn't felt that way about a Lego game since like Batman 2, where Batman 2 is like, yeah, we've been doing this like linear level structure, but we're going to do open world now. I'm like, whoa, hey, chill out. That was amazing. Then they break the next set of shackles. They're like, oh, you thought we couldn't do Marvel? Watch this. So I'm very curious after another kind of defining Lego game moment. Like you've been cooking for years. What is the next Lego property or property that they work on with the Lego games? Like there's been rumors that it's either Batman or Harry Potter. Harry Potter makes sense because you had the success of Hogwarts Legacy. But I feel like if Hogwarts Legacy was at least a year or two, it was like the top of 2023, if I remember, that was a game that was years after they likely picked the direction they were going in at TT Games. So I don't know if they would have that moment to be able to react to like, oh, Hogwarts Legacy's popping off. Let's go do that. So I feel like Batman might be the play.
Okay.
But what do you think? What if you had a WB property off the top of your head that you were like, yeah, let's do that for Lego? Like they've done everything, bro. They've done Lord of the Rings, they've done Marvel, they've done Harry Potter, Batman. I mean, it's tough. I'm just like,
it's tough. They've done everything.
They did DC Supervillains, which was awesome. Like they've done, they've done Pirates of the Caribbean. They've done Lego City Undercover. They've done the Lego Movie. I think I've covered Star Wars, of course.
Yeah. I guess the question is, what's popping that they haven't done? What's pop culture that we sit there, we go, man, it hasn't been one of those yet.
I proposed the idea in my video. I don't know if anyone reacted to it or not, but I was like, maybe they should go for another game world, like Lego Fallout. Like,
okay.
I mean, hear me out, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, obviously I'm biased, but I was just like, hear me out, bro. Like, imagine rebuilding the wasteland, literally. I mean, that was the theme of Fallout 4. And you kind of carry that into a Lego game.
I mean, it's not one of the hottest properties right now.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I just
got one of the best shows on TV with Amazon. Like I can feel that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, that's like late though. Like I'm trying to think if we're in 2021 and they're like, all right, we shipped Skywalker Saga, and they take a look around. They're like, what do we do next? What is popular at that time period?
It is. I mean, Fallout is popular right now.
I mean, I would love that. You know,
there's no denying. So your bias is actually justified.
Well, I hope Lego GTA would be hilarious.
would you think with Lego intellectual property getting nervous?
Oh yeah, 100%.
The higher ups. Yeah, that's what I worry about.
Yeah, no, I mean Lego City Undercover was apparently, I haven't played that one yet, but a lot of people call it Lego GTA. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't think it was TT Games, but they did the 2K Drive or the racing game. Lego. I feel like my head just keeps going back to Batman though. I'm like, this just.
Well, that's a safe pick, right?
Yeah, well, WB's like, WB's in that spot though. They're like, they're not gonna make, risky. Let's try to let's get deep in the cut. They're like, especially now, they're like, don't you dare move off of Batman. Yeah,
you may have to bring Batman back right now to restore order.
Yeah. I think that with the new combat system that they did in the Skywalker saga might work. Like that might excite enough people. Like Lego Batman, new combat system, open world. I don't know. Here's hoping though.
I'm with you, bro.
We'll know sometime in the next year. All right. Next up, Suikoden. Got a few announcements. Obviously, this week is the release finally of the remaster. Reviews are out. Looks like it's pretty good. So I cannot wait to play that. First is Suikoden Star Leap, announced for iOS and Android. There has also been the announcement of an anime cog based on Suikoden 2, and that'll be handled by Konami Animation, a first time for the studio. This was the name I was talking about, by the way, at the top of the show, where I said we got one that's just wild. Big Dumb Stupid Idiot writes in, hello, all natural double D. Suikoden fans are having a monkey's paw moment. They're getting a new game, but it's a gotcha for the phone. Have fun rolling for goonable JPEGs to min-max your teams just for those units to be worthless in a couple of months. Have a cog blaming his imaginary kid to get a refund on the thousands he dropped on Suikoden Star. What is this game called? It's Star Leap kind of day.
Yo, that's funny. The fact that people remember that story is kind of hilarious.
That is your best story on the show, in my opinion. Like just making up a kid to get a refund is there's nothing better than that.
I couldn't believe I got away with it. It was like $1,000. It was bad.
Yeah.
But look, man, I want to shout out my man, Lord Chris Jones, Lord Senior. Happy born day. It was his birthday yesterday. Bro, the way Lord Sonic RK goes hard for Sonic, no one goes harder for Suikoden and Ayuden Chronicles.
I see his Twitter. Yeah.
Bro, he is the connoisseur. So right now, he's in heaven because they got the they're doing the remaster joint, like you were saying, and the other joints. But I got to talk to him about this one. I don't know how he feels about this gotcha game. But knowing him, I had to guess he probably still support it just because, seeking to see what it is. But it is kind of a monkey paws moment in the sense that, like, this is the joint y'all getting, you know what I mean? Like, it is kind of funny, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to
all
Big
this
Dumb
time for an iOS game. And look, man, been there. It's not fun.
I do like the fact the resurgence overall of the IP, though. Yeah. I feel like the IP, like, people don't, it was an in the cut kind of PlayStation game. And ones who knew, and we loved it. But now it's getting that treatment, and I think that's super cool. So I'm gonna pull up on C Unit and Chris and talk to him and see how he's feeling about this Star Lead gotcha joint.
Yeah.
I'm dying to pick his brain on it.
Yeah, the iOS stuff I would not be interested in. The anime based on 2 though does sound interesting. First time for a studio though. That's I don't know, man. Yeah. I can't think of a time that really worked out super well for something that needs to be done super well. You'll see I think of the Trails anime when they did a Cold Steel anime. And
how was that? Oh, no, not good.
Like usually your episode 1 in anime is like the tone setter. Like they'll do the highest production values and everything because it's like they want to hook you. They'll never give you something like that again. Typically throughout the show, there's exceptions, of course, but most times they'll be like, yeah, here you go. We put it all into this and then you stay for the rest. But when like the Trails anime was just like so mid in the first episode, I'm like, this is the tone you set, bro. Like, so, and it was like either it was a newish team or like a unknown team. And like, I will say, I'm not promoting consolidation in the anime industry, but there's a reason why there's like a handful of studios that just get passed around with everything because they're so fucking good. So good luck to Konami Animation, of course, but I'm not holding my breath on that.
Yeah.
Rockstar Games has acquired Video Games Deluxe, which this one makes a lot of sense based off what they made. They made the upgrades and the fixes to the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition. Remember how that was broken? They went ahead and fixed it, so now they've been bought, and the team has been renamed to Rockstar Australia. Any thoughts, sir?
Jobs. We like jobs. We like stability, and we like people fixing fumbles because that was a catastrophic fumble.
Never even played it. Yeah. So that's good for the team. I'm glad that they were able to fix the game, more importantly, but that they got some cash in their pocket now over undoing that. So hopefully that'll never happen again.
Yeah, salute to them.
All right. Another quick one here. Steam reaches 40 million concurrent online users for the first time. 12.6 million of those, so about a quarter, a little bit more than a quarter of those were in game. PC gaming continues to explode.
Oh, yeah. And I think Xbox needs to pay attention, especially with their multi-platform strategy, because if they intend to get in the handheld business, there's someone who has a natural ecosystem that everybody likes to prefer. And I think that is something they really got to concern themselves. How they're going to handle, or they're just going to merge and let's be besties, because Steam ain't going away, bro.
Absolutely. So shout out to Steam. Continues to be the GOAT.
Oh, yeah.
Next up here, wanted to put this in because some people are getting confused. 4A Games, the developers of the Metro series, have a Ukraine division. That division has been split off and rebranded to Reburn, and they have announced their next project alongside it. By they, again, I mean Reburn, not 4A Games, the developers of Metro. This game is called La Quimera, and it is a single-player and co-op FPS set in a fictional Latin America metropolis. So not too much information on it, but I will say that I was about to say love, but I like 4A Games a lot. I did not like Exodus that much, though.
Gotcha.
Metro Exodus was, to me, there have been way worse missteps, especially in hindsight, but Metro is best underground, and Exodus was way too much above ground. And so it didn't hit right for me personally. I wasn't a big fan. But La Quimera, keep an eye on it. Any thoughts on this, sir?
No, not too much. I'm just curious about the rebranding. This is new information to me, so I'm just curious about that. Obviously, I don't want to get too political here. Obviously, the climate's pretty hot right now, in Ukraine, and I was just curious about if, anything that went into that. But, hopefully we get some more information in reference to that, to the studio.
100%. Next up here, an anime game, Cog. We have Demon Slayer. It's getting another game, and it releases August 5th in the West. It's a sequel to the Hinokami Chronicles, and I am interested in this one because the first one had a pretty light roster. They added a lot with DLC. Tried it again in 2023, and it was a pretty all right time. I'm not expecting too much from this one, but a bigger roster will be a good starting point here. But this was, a lot of people thought this was like a CyberConnect game. It's not. It's like published by Sega, and I forgot the team that made it, but this is not the same. Even though it has a very similar Ultimate Ninja Storm style, it is not an Ultimate Ninja Storm developer. So I look forward to that one. But Cog, I imagine you are more hyped than me, are you not?
Oh yeah, this is all for you, baby. You already know. This is what you do. Bleachy Bleach. What's the name of them guys?
Yeah, I think Bleach is this month, so that'll be cool.
No doubt.
All right, well, this one you will have thoughts on. Games publisher Acclaim has returned. It'll be led by Alex Joseph alongside Russell Binder, Mark Kaplan, and Jeff Jarrett, wrestling legend Jeff Jarrett. Their focus is said to be supporting independent developers as well as reigniting classic franchises. They aim to provide resources such as funding, marketing, and PR support to indie teams to help get their games out to more people. Cog, your thoughts on... Remember the MLB All-Star games they used to do? Did you ever play those? Yeah, I used to. That was like my favorite growing up. So that's what I know Acclaim for. But otherwise, I feel like you'd have more thoughts on them. So let me hear it. Are you excited for the return of Acclaim after all these years?
Hell yes. Acclaim is so many memories, bro. This is one of the tragedies of the industry that went away. I believe them and Midway, so many games that they are responsible, so many amazing franchises. And I got to be honest, like that, I love the fact that, they said they're going to be trying to reignite some of the classics. That is super promising to me. Shout out to Jeff Jarrett. I got to shout about Flex. He was there during the What was the joint? What was it? WrestleQuest.
Yeah.
I didn't realize his passion for gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a chance to interview the legend, and he is, bro, he's super cool.
I love Jeff Jarrett, yeah.
To see him get behind this and to want to support it and pull his resources or whatever it is to get behind it is super dope. Look, Acclaim is legendary. If they pull this off, they could have an amazing resurgence. They are a ton of dormant franchises that people want back. Look, I'm keeping my eye on this. Thank you for putting me on.
Yeah.
I would love to see Acclaim come back.
You have any franchises that come to mind for you?
There was so many. I was looking at the list. Jesus Christ. I mean, they had a lot of the WW joints. I remember that. I remember Iron Sword, the Devil Dragon games. Oh my God. Smash TV. Who else? What else? We got, I remember Wolverine. That one was okay. But let me see. The Terminator 2. Damn, there's so many. Bro, see, a lot of these WWF games, I don't know if they can have because it's probably licensing stuff. Arch Rivals, wow, bro, there's so many Simpson games, Spider-Man games. Like there are tons of IPs, bro, tons. This list is now technically Mortal Kombat is separated. That used to be them, but NetherRealm has the rights of it. But they are responsible for pretty much every NBA Jam.
Oh, NBA Jam was one, yeah.
Bro, there's so many. Yeah, look, they could go so many routes with this, but I'm just super hyped that they're back, and I'm curious about which IPs they try to revive.
Yes, that'll definitely be something worth paying attention to because they have. It reminds me a little bit of when THQ came back. It's like you guys got a lot, and so give them a couple of years, and we'll see what they're actually up to. All right, last bit of news, Cog, before we get into what we're playing here, and it is about Ubisoft, who. This is a big month for them, biggest month in their company's history. And we have the report from Tom Henderson. It's exclusive on Insider Gaming. Ubisoft's Far Cry extraction-based multiplayer shooter has been rebooted. I'll read the write-up here. We'll discuss. The Far Cry extraction-based multiplayer shooter under codename Maverick has been rebooted, Insider Gaming has learned. Project Maverick, which was initially intended as a multiplayer component to Far Cry 7, morphed into its own project in early 2023. But after an internal review, the project has been rebooted. That is according to several sources familiar with the project's development, who said that the writing was on the wall for a number of months. It was said that the final nail in the coffin came after its dedicated tech team called Talisker, as also the old name for Far Cry 7 before it morphed into two separate projects, moved to Maverick to be fully dedicated to Blackbird in late December to ensure the project stays on track. Maverick was going to be an extraction-based multiplayer shooter set in Alaska, where players would try to survive and extract in the harsh elements against wild animals, AI soldiers, and other players. It's understood that Ubisoft Montreal, the studio heading both Maverick and Blackbird, aka Far Cry 7, will take the multiplayer game back to prototyping with Ubisoft Sherbrooke, Ubisoft Berlin, who were also assisting on the game's development, has seen around a dozen or so developers move to Blackbird, and another dozen move to another project. However, it's understood approximately 50 developers are now left without an assignment or assigned project and will likely be placed on viability this month. The exact reason for Maverick's reboot is unclear, but the decision seems to have been made as part of Ubisoft's new strategy to streamline its teams and projects amid the company's struggles. That being said, some of the Blackbird project feels like a 2026 release date is still fairly optimistic, with the project bloating in headcount and budget. Teams on the project, including Ubisoft Montreal, Berlin, Annecy, Redstorm, and the Talisker team. That being said, the project has already started playtesting, with several sources telling Insider Gaming that the game played great and changes up the traditional Far Cry formula in a number of ways, from overall gameplay to movement mechanics. At the time of writing, Ubisoft has yet to officially comment on Maverick or Blackbird. So, Cog, that is the report here for Ubisoft's Far Cry extraction shooter. What is our takeaway here from what's going on with Ubisoft? Another kind of rebooted project they were trying to do. Mm-hmm. I kind of like to hear that they were trying to do the whole conversion project experiment that we saw like Avowed do, and we saw, Veilguard do, and there's like, let's restart. And I think that's good because people can smell it's good. Like, the thing is, what I'm learning with those projects has been they're huge victories for the teams that made them. Like, wow, we did that. But for us who get these things, there's always a level of like, something's a little off here, at least in my opinion. So what's your take on this extraction shooter where Ubisoft's trending right now? A lot of changes under that building.
Yeah, they're in extremely a critical time right now, and they have to hit. Mm-hmm. So what to me this tells is that the quality bar in the building has gone up, and we are sifting through everything with a fine comb to make sure that this is as successful as possible. So this is going to be an offshoot multiplayer component, this Project Maverick of a Far Cry game. Mm-hmm. You know, remember I told you, extraction shooters, that is a very, kind of niche space, and you need to nail it. There's not too many. There was a Tarkov, and I know obviously Bungie's Marathon is trying to jump into that space. Mm-hmm. You have to nail this. Now, I will say, if anybody can nail it, I do have confidence in Ubisoft with a game like Division under their belt. And, obviously the Graw series, Ghost Recon and stuff like that. They have a lot, and Rainbow Six, like they have enough chops and talent, I feel, to be, if anyone's able to pull it, I do feel they have that pedigree to do it. But this is critical. You can't have no flops out here, bro. Not with your company's future looming, Tencent looming. There's a lot at stake here. Mm-hmm. So, hey, I like the fact that people who started playtesting said that what they played feels great.
That's good.
Keep refining. That's a great sign. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to them, because if they fumble, we could be having a moratorium at Ubisoft. So, which we don't.
They really have their backs against the wall, and Assassin's Creed Shadows, I just don't see a world where it can do it for Ubisoft. If I'm honest, I just that's not me trying to doom. Just like Tom Henderson also reported in a separate article in the middle of February that like the pre-order numbers are good. Like they are,
talk about that.
They're like behind Odyssey even.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about who else they behind in the later subject.
Oh yes, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, but they're behind that, and compared to Valhalla, which had 8.5 million players at its launch, you're looking at, I think the projection is 3.5 for Shadows, and I'm like, that's good. I mean,
for anybody else,
for your standards, and anybody else, but if you're trying to save your company,
right? I
think you need a smash hit, and I think the unfortunate part for Ubisoft is based on what I played, not getting that vibe. And here's the one thing I'll say. Little inside baseball for anybody. I talked about it a bit in the video. If there's anything that has told me Ubisoft is in risk-averse mode, it's that I don't think I'm getting access for this game. And that's okay. But that is like, I have stomped their games out before. Like Far Cry 6 is the moment I think of where I was like, I'm never getting access from them again. So I was like, this is just like such an insulting game in a lot of ways to me. It's just like, you really think I'm this dumb, or I'm going to take Far Cry 3 for like the third fucking time? Like, come on. And so I went hard on it. But they kept giving access, and like, I always respected Ubisoft for that. Like there are games of theirs that I love, like Mario & Rabbids, but there's games I have not liked from them, but they've never wavered. When I see what's happening in their company, and after my preview, all of a sudden it's like no response, it's okay. Again, I'm not really insulted, but I just to kind of illustrate to people the mode that they might be in right now.
I get what
they're not taking chances, bro. They're not like, why would we give this guy who did not like 3 hours of our game the opportunity to review this? Like, why would they do that? Right? They know how YouTube reviews work. It's like, if I'm the guy on the mountaintop who's like the one person be like, this shit's mid, bro. Like, why would you ever take that chance? And I get it. Based on my preview, I think the game had an opportunity to turn around, but like I'm cool with not reviewing it. But
that would be unfortunate.
Yeah,
that would be unfortunate, because we don't want, as a developer, the publisher, to cherry pick, kind of thing. It would be unfortunate, but I get it. Look, to your point, where businesses evolve, for some companies that changes things, right? And that's unfortunate. But yeah, I hope not. I hope you get it.
I mean, it's okay. I've already said separately, I was like, I don't think I should be someone reviewing it, because I've never walked away from a preview where I was like, that wasn't good at all. And I do think that colors your opinion going in. Like I've had moments where I've like gone in and previewed a game, and I've been like, okay, I want to, like, Star Wars Outlaws is a good example. Like I went in and I was like, I like some of these things, but I specifically said in my review, I was like, if these don't evolve in the ways I think they should, or at least in intelligent and exciting ways, like this game could just kind of flip on its head in a moment. Right. And that's what happened, unfortunately. Right. And the same thing could be different for Assassin's Creed Shadows. It could be like, when I played it, in that testing period, it was like, that wasn't good. But as they made better decisions as the game went on, I actually liked it more. But I felt pretty strong when I played it of like, this has been done before and done way better before, where I don't know if I can really, I don't think I'd be a fair critic for it. So I was already planning to not do it anyway, even if I know the viewership would be good. So yeah, even if they gave me access at this point, but I always like to see, I kick tires just because I'm like, it's our business, right? So it's like, I kick tires. I'm just like, all right, I knew I just fucking like, I went in on this preview, like, what's up? Like, hey, is there any access that's going to be opening up for these games? And just crickets. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, the thing is, the hope is, you know, if you're in the perspective of the publisher, the hope is that your finished product could get said person to be like, change their opinion or say, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Finished product was better. You know, that's the hope. But hey, they got to do what they got to do, I guess.
And like, I could be misreading it. They could just be like, this guy's a douchebag. I don't know. Like, I'm just saying from my point of view, Ubisoft is, I've always advocated for their like creator side of the program. People are always like, fuck them up and down. I'm like, no. So their creator team's always been good. Like everyone slings accusations in this industry about like curving reviews and cherry picking access. And it's like, I have been a consistent vocal critic of Ubisoft for over a decade, and they've never once left me out of anything. So when I see their company on this trajectory and now they're leaving me out, I'm like, I get it. It's business time. It's not time to be like, we're fine. Everything's gonna be okay. It's like,
hopefully you get it as it gets closer to release. You might not be wave one.
Oh yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Day and date.
You might not be wave one. That's how they may handle that.
Yeah, day and date. They were like, hey, reviews are out. You can start playing now. Oh, thank you.
Here you go.
That's okay. I'm playing Kena. I'm having a good time. I'm playing a couple other things we'll talk about. Speaking of which, let's get into that.
Yeah.
Tog, I'd love to hear from you. This is a very, very eclectic lineup. You have quite the spread here, sir. So let's hear from you.
Yeah, man, it is time. So Avowed is finally completed. Obviously, Last Duke, I was very close to the end. That was the last biome. And then all the culminations of the decisions, all the things came to play. And look, man, I had fun with this game. I will say my ending, surprisingly, I was satisfied with the choices I made and the ending I got. Okay. I do have a problem with one aspect of the ending. Is that I don't mind what we would consider, and this is not a spoiler because we had Carrie Patel on, and she said there are slides of endings and different endings. And I'm not going to say the specifics. My issue with my ending, even though I love my choices, I love my outcome, I thought everything was fair, it played out the way I thought, and I liked. But, yo, man, is it me that when they would read, the narrators reading the slide, I'm like, she's on speed dial. I'm like, slow down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and this, and then boom, next slide. I'm like, wait, let it marinate. Because you got a bunch of slides. And I was just like, you're going too fast. I'm not appreciating this moment. You're trying to you're rushing me off the stage.
Have the fallout moment of like watching the slides go by and kind of leaning back and
lean back, fade in, fade out. Bro, major mistake there because I liked what you tried to do. Just let me marinate on these powerful decisions and they're actually very cool artwork and
the artwork was sick for those sides.
Yeah, so that was it. So then now I get to the aspect of what we call the scum save, right? And it's like, okay, well, if I'd have did this and I would have did that, what would have happened? And I felt like, again, what I mentioned last week did come back up, which is the variations of, let's say there were, I'm just going to make up a random number. Let's say there were 6 endings. Okay. Right. The ending I picked, I was satisfied. Yes. Okay. What if I would have did 2 other things out of 5 major decisions? What would have happened? And when I'm now scum saving and looking, the divergence, it's just not that it doesn't exist. It's just not radical enough, in my opinion, to truly justify, there was serious choice and consequence between everything. Now, I will give the game one thing. There is one thing that happened that I actually YouTubed that if you do, but you have to do a series of specific events.
I think I know what you're talking about. Is this like the second area?
Yes. Yeah. From Dawn Shaw's, the conclusion of Dawn Shaw, what you do with the fate of a person, the conclusion of the Emerald Stair, what you do with the state of a region, and another area. If you do a specific series of events, There is an ending that I saw and I did YouTube. I was like, okay, that's fire. I didn't know that possibility could happen. And it was dope with said Inquisitor. And I'm like, okay, shout out to Inquisitor Lodwin. That is for Destiny fans, you will love her because that is Savathun, the actress. I believe it's Deborah Green. And she always kills it. My only issue was just like, okay, I wanted more of those, that particular style of end. I wanted more of those. So that was it. But I will say my ending was satisfying because the said entity that I connected with had a very powerful moment in my ending that I really appreciated. So look, overall, good game, has some flaws, foundation's there for the future. Please take this feedback because I do think you do have some of the best exploration, the best combat going. I do feel like, I will say the leveling system, y'all gotta, if you want me to commit, like if there's certain things that I love and I get them early, because you know how the game, the way the leveling is and the skulls and the quality of your weapons, superb, legendary and all that stuff. Like I feel they're too greedy with the resources so that like say if I want to keep a specific gun or exotic or unique all the way through, right? Bro, they are really charging you for these resources to upgrade. So it's like they're locking you into like, okay, if you're gonna do it, you can only do one or two of them. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a bunch of them if you like. And I'm like, damn, I want more of that. So again, just tweaks and stuff to the build. But overall experience pretty good. I did like you. Like I said, just some feedback for the next one. But I think you got a foundational IP that I can't wait. I would love Outer Worlds 2 treatment for you and to see what that go and get back to what reactive world inhabitant states like factions and I guess how we got like and this is like the Steel Garrote, it's it's this and I want you can't really be friends with everybody and truly there's consequences for go against.
I just think the biggest problem with some of these RPGs and their reaction is like I think it's okay if it lives in the dialogue, but like you need to have like unique NPCs need to spawn now. Like you need to have that moment of like when you go back to these areas or you go forward, like there are quest lines that open up to you. Like there has to be that level of consideration because then it's okay if it lives in the dialogue because there's way like what did Josh Sawyer say? Paraphrasing, but like the best choices honor you immediately and later. You know, like you feel that vibrate throughout your playthrough. And it doesn't have to be Baldur's Gate 3 level to do that. I think that is the one, and this is not Larian's fault by any means. That is like the one bad part about the game is every developer's thinking, how do we do that? And I'm like, you can't. There's a reason Larian was like, we're not doing Baldur's Gate 4. Because I didn't think they themselves know we can't do that.
The Undertaking.
Like that Undertaking to one up one of the best RPGs ever made.
It's a lot.
That is very tough to do. They are smart. They are good leaders there to be like, let's not put ourselves in a spot to fail. But I think people got to start looking at like older BioWare and just that level of reactivity. It was like, what was the near term in a KOTOR or a Jade Empire? Your morale, right? Like that meter moved. So you would see that, right? But the long term is like your face would start to change. You'd get, if you were Darkseid, you get more pale.
Fable would do something like that too.
Instead of like Jedi showing up, it was like the Sith would show up because they're like, you killed our people. So now we're coming back for you. Then you feel it short and long term. But these games just are like hoping that the flavor text is enough.
Yes. Good call out.
It's just part of it from my point of view.
You're right. No, I agree. And I think it would have hit even harder if, like, for example, after chapter 1, there's, non-spoiler, like there's a major decision on someone's life, right? So then what I would have loved, instead of just the flavor text of dealing with someone else, it's like, yo, I can't believe you did such and such with somebody, right? I would have liked, yo, you interact with unique NPCs from that faction, they hunting you down, or like more agency and reactivity with some of them. Not because they do have things where I want to give about some credit. Yes, you will, because of that choice, see maybe someone affiliated with that character later, and you'll have dialogue about that wouldn't happen based on the choice that you made earlier. I just want them to take it a step further. You know what I'm saying? And truly give more agency to those decisions. But yeah, you was about to say.
No, I think the choice in reaction in dialogue is like a good thing that Avowed does. Like it's just if it's the only thing, it becomes a problem, right? I think that's one thing I maybe could have said a little better in my review is like I just think like it's step one, right?
Yes.
Like imagine if like I haven't played it, but you can speak to it more. But I think of like text-based games like a Disco Elysium where I'm like, if all the reaction is just in the text, that's not enough. Like people need to come to you. The environment needs to change. Like these things, that's how it's felt, right? Like I get you shaping that world.
I get you.
You know,
and then it's magnified more in a game that doesn't have the reactive systems and a stealing system and a law system, and that's when you start to see it. Yeah.
What I think would work really is like I think companies should look at Fallout 3 a little bit more or New Vegas. Like a lot of side quests nowadays, and I get why people do it because it might strengthen the main story for a lot of folks, but a lot of side quests feel like optional main story content. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I think the Fallout 3 approach is to me the more ideal way of doing side quests of like, these have nothing to do with your main story. These are just stories of people doing things. And I think that self-contained nature can let these developers make more reactive pockets rather than like this fucking spider web across your game that I think breaks really easily. Like it's gotta be,
I get it.
It's gotta be tough to manage as
I get it. You know, what I will give them credit is I will feel that researching out the godlike powers helped me get extreme context on the world and help me learn other aspects of the story in a positive way. So I felt the godlike stuff, when you look at the lore behind it, and because the game does this cool thing where it asks you, said entity asks you, so, well, what happened there? Well, what did you do and why did you do that? And then you're painting the story of, because basically there's a lot of reincarnation in this game. There's a lot of theology in this game. There's a lot. So that is doing something cool and unique on that level. But traditional RPG aspects to, I think, where you're going for, which is like, you know, we're used to playing Baldur's Gate or you're playing Mass Effect and there's that choice and it's this person's race versus that person's race. And, you know, there are major, I think Mass Effect's, the genophage, right? There are major consequences based on said decision between Mordin and Rex. And, you know, it's big. And there's super reoccurring repercussions after that based on what it is. It'll affect relationship. And I just felt, again, they did the first step. Not that they don't have it, but now you got to lean into that. You really got, and I think that's the lesson learned. But yeah, look, again, good experience. Still love Avowed, best combat exploration, but just we need that for, especially as you yourself, Obsidian, have set that standard.
Yes. How much time do you end up spending with it, if you remember?
A lot. At least 60. Nice. I did almost cleared up pretty much every map. My favorites were probably Dorshaw is classic. I really like the Emerald Stair at night. I think that is one of my favorite biomes, and also the volcanic aspect of the Gallowayne Tusks, which is, I believe, Barrius's homeworld and stuff like that. I liked when you, I don't want to spoil because that's a spot. I like when you went to a certain area and you started to face certain aspects that your companions have to deal with. And I thought that was, you know, done decently. But look, I got it. I was satisfied with my decisions in terms of said entity and said outcome and whatever. I just want them to now take this to the next level.
Yeah, I think an Avowed 2 would be really good.
Yeah,
I think
please.
I think it would be what a lot of folks are looking for while keeping others happy, because the combat, the core systems are good.
Oh, so and you made a good point about what, use a term in terms of combat that games are doing. I don't know if it's basically where it's the freedom and the uniqueness. You used the term earlier in another game. I wanted to steal that term. I was like, that's
job
exactly
system?
what you. Well, remember when we talk about the job system and the game allows you to play however you want to play. It's like a free form, fluidity. It's something unique. It's so. I love what Avowed does that few games do. You're not locking me into a class. You're allowing me to have two loadouts. You're allowing me to switch. You're allowing me to mix mage with ranger, with fighter. With you're allowing all of this unique combinations into this. It's fun. I feel so OP being able to go invisible, root people in place, use long distance weapons, gunplay. Oh my God, bro. You got to see a clip I put up on Twitter with shock pistol stun build. I had bro. I was on some Wild West joint, bro. Like the fun I'm having, like I was, because you know how they got that stagger bar system, almost like the Final Fantasy series. bro, the things I was doing to people, laying dudes out with the double pistols, bro. Pause. I know y'all gonna get me for that, but I don't care. It was that much fun with my double pistol. Bro, every weapon I get, the design, the properties. Oh my God, these weapon designs are amazing. I haven't had that fun since Destiny. And I really did. You see that clip? Did you see that clip?
I'm watching right now.
Bro, I'm telling you, man.
The Chieftain Griffin?
Yeah, bro. Not that one. That's me on my magic. That's me on my Harry Potter. That's me bringing the clouds down, putting the magic circle down. Now I'm talking about later that I got a double pistol build and I'm fighting some soldiers. And I'm telling y'all right now, it was so much fun. And then the builds I was doing with the companions and Kai and obviously Yatsu, and shout out to Giada and stuff like that. But that. Yeah. You see that one?
Yeah, I'm watching right now. Yeah, wow, 1900 damage, really good. So who were your final companions you were rocking with? I didn't hear you.
All right, so it ended up being Kai and Giada. Yatsu is a close second because she's to me the most offensive companion as far as like really doing damage and having a good sorcerer with you. But Giada, I liked her because her background with animacy, and you know what I like about her? She's the best interacting with for some reason, she's written. Remember how you and Gene were talking, and we all agree that the majority of companions in Avowed, when you talking to an NPC and then the companion interrupts and says his thoughts, and then the main NPC be like, yeah, all right, whatever. But then, right, Giada will go at them and they be responding to Giada because Giada has very strong thoughts about politics. Yeah, oh my gosh, she's good. And then obviously Kai is the homie. I mean, it's literally Garrus carbon copy. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like those two I felt had a nice balance taking them with them. And y'all got to work on Marius. He needs better rep. That's just me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was that. And then second has been that was Avowed. And I've been on my Genesis Classics run. So basically I'm doing a Maddie. I never do this.
Oh, you're doing a Maddie. All right.
I'm doing a Maddie. So obviously Shinobi Art of Vengeance, the Shinobi's here. It's my favorite stuff. So I'm doing a run through in chronological order of Shinobi games from their inception to the end. Right?
I love that. Okay.
On Sega, the arcade classic Shinobi, and I started that playing that. Now, you know what's sad? It was an Xbox Live arcade game. It's no longer there. Pulled from the store. So I got it around the time they added it, but it looks like it's pulled. So that's a shame because Arcade Shinobi to me is a classic in its own. And some people feel better than the console versions in terms of the fact that it was no life bar. The challenge was harder. Some of the most iconic bosses, some of the funnest bonus stages, right? And the ninjas come out. It was great. And the music's amazing. So that. Then people don't realize, I talked about this with Brad on Summertime. After Shinobi, before Revenge of Shinobi, there was another Shinobi game. This is the stepchild. Okay. It's called Shadow Dancer. Now, Shadow Dancer was them taking the Shinobi character, Joe Musashi, and then giving him a dog. And the dog would you could sick him on armored enemies. It stopped people who were difficult to fight. Now, I will say they had an arcade version, which is okay. But this is one of the rare ones where the Genesis version was superior to the arcade version of Shadow Dancer. Shadow Dancer is on the Genesis Classics. I was shocked to see it there. So I played a full complete through of Shadow Dancer, an amazing game. So you got that. Now comes the classic, Revenge of Shinobi, which people consider the GOAT Shinobi game. I think I've talked about it. The most iconic bosses, the best music. And this is a cultural reference. That is the game. Just beat that. And then now we get to Shinobi 3, which is Return of the Ninja Master. And the game is the best gameplay. That's where they introduced the running. That's where they introduced the clambering, the slide, the jump kick, everything that you're seeing. So the beauty of Art of Vengeance trailer is they've picked all the best aspects from every single Shinobi game, including Shadow Dancer.
So you're living large right now.
Oh, bro, it would be like me with Turtles, you with Turtle. Like I'm in a bag right now, right? So that right there,
this is awesome.
Oh, it's so fun, bro. It's so fun. And the fact that they have the dog from Shadow Dancer on a specific stage in Art of Vengeance is such a deep cut to a game that was forgotten about. I'm in love right now. So yeah, I'm in my bag. I'm almost finished with Shadow. The only thing I realized with Shinobi 3 that's kind of disheartening, as great as it is, the best gameplay, music was not that good, which is a staple. And I think they did not have Yuzo Koshiro do the music for Shinobi 3.
Games too. He's got it all.
Oh my God. Oh, bro, he followed me on Twitter. I tweeted him and the man retweeted me because I was bumping the Shinobi track on one of my workouts. And he was like, oh, I didn't know my music does this. Yeah. And everybody's like, yo, Carl, the legend just retweeted you. I was like,
I love that.
I could die now. Bro, I made it. I made it to Starfield. I made it to Shinobi. User Kajiro cheated me. Life is good.
There we go.
So, yeah, bro. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, God Crush, Lizard Cube, if you guys do not get Yuzo Koshiro to do at least one track on Rage Shinobi Art of Vengeance, that is an L. Call that man. I understand if his price may be high, he can't do the whole joint. You cannot. It's like having a Streets of Rage game without him. Mm-hmm. Cannot have a Shinobi game without him. Bro, the Revenge of Shinobi soundtrack destroys Shinobi 3. It's not even close. I'm like, ooh, this is bad. This is not that good. It's just boring. Kind of thing. It takes away from it, even though the gameplay and everything else about it is cooler and better. So that's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, I just did all that. And then the final thing is, I went back to comfort food, just checking on Destiny, see what's going on. They got some cool things going on with weapons and heresy, yada, yada, yada. Not enough to save the game, but I will say fun enough, and they're doing some cool things with, they have this mode you would actually find funny. We just talk about mechs.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. It's like mechs versus tanks or something like that. And it's something that community has always kind of wanted them to play around with. And they're doing some stuff. So the vibe I'm getting is they're in survival mode, but they're actually taking feedback. Look, they're not getting off Destiny 2 no time soon. That's the vibe I'm getting. Their latest live stream, I watched it. Shout out to my boy Bontis, who got shouted out on the live stream from Bungie. Salute to my boy. So proud of him. They are saying, you know what? Marathon's clearly the focus right now. That everything's dependent on that. But we're going to take all the feedback and all the things that you hate about the slog of it being repetitive and create all these new modes. And I will say, they do look fun. So we'll see. I think they're just in tread water mode right now, to be honest. But I will say the weapon design things that I say is fun. So yeah, that's been pretty much it. I've been in my Renaissance bag.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. But what you got? What you got, man? You got some cool stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of different things going on here. Kena Bridge of Spirits has been my main focus. I'm in the last act of the game. If I did not have such a whirlwind of the past 2 days, I'd be here to tell you all my final thoughts on the game. But I probably didn't even beat it tonight. Like, I know, PlayStation has that percentage tracker. Like, it's before anyone reacts, I got on PlayStation years ago.
Because you know how your 75 hours do, bro.
It was a gift, mind you, from my mother. What am I going to do? Fucking return and be like, sorry, Mom. I play
Xbox version, Mom.
Yeah. So give me a break for this one. I think I'm at like 80 or 90%. So, I mean, this is a short game. This is a beautiful video game, though. I am really enamored by it. For a first time project from a team. Just so impressed, especially given like there was game development background, of course, but like a team of animators coming together to make this, like it is art a lot of the times. Like the cutscenes, the dialogue. Like I am not usually that captured, but there is a level of, like I've said before, like I am playing a Pixar film, and I fucking love Pixar films. So to kind of get that feeling in a game, it reminds me of Psychonauts. It reminds me a little bit of Ratchet and Clank. It's like, I feel that influence here, but it's very strong in Kena. And it is a strong emotional game. Like it is a game about moving spirits to the afterlife. So pretty much each act of the game is defined by, like, you can feel the formula by act 2. It's like, here's your set of characters. No one here is really alive. Usher them into the afterlife after an epic boss fight and weep a little bit as you see just beautiful music and visuals and storytelling play out before your eyes. But what I really have to just comment on is how difficult the game can be. I did the second act boss fight. For those who want to know without spoiling anything, I'm talking about wood, like lots of wood. And the way the boss, there's a mechanic with it where it's dead silent when you're fighting it. And then it'll go to this middle tree and start banging on it. And when it does, the music kicks up in times with the bang of the tree. Like it's very impressive and cinematic. That boss did highlight an issue I had. It's like my first problem with the game. Probably my only one. It's the way it tries to be cinematic at times. Like when you're running around the boss arena, The game works really well in one-on-one combat. It works well in like 1-on-4 as well. But in these moments in the boss fight, like 3 enemies will spawn around me. So the camera tries to take over and be like, we got you. We're going to show you all these enemies. But the game's tough. So when I die a lot, like I don't need to look around and see them all. And as the camera's trying to force that movement, the boss ain't waiting for it to be over and being like, okay, you see that? Got you. Here I come. Like he's already on the way as the camera's like reorienting it by itself. And I'm like fighting with it, trying to dodge. And so it happens just at the start of certain sequences, and it throws me off because, like, when you're playing this game on the normal difficulty, bro, like you'll get killed in 4 hits. Like it's that strict with you. Like it is a tough video game. So yeah, I just wanted to remind people if they're listening to this and they want to play, like Kena is a beautiful video game, but it is also very tough. But I just, dude, it's just like it's a good, like, I'm feeling refreshed while I'm playing this game because it's an amazing story, amazing music, but it's also just a classic video game in a lot of ways, like very by the numbers combat. But because even though the mechanics are simple, the complexity of the enemy design makes it where I don't care that, I just have a heavy attack and a light attack. Like, sometimes you get a dash ability. So if you fight an ethereal enemy, you have to like dash through them, then you can hit them. If an enemy shows up to you and he's got a shield, heavy attack. This enemy has a lot of health. Pairing's your best friend. Like there's an answer to everything and there's a skill level to it. So while it's very simple core fundamentals of combat, your dodge button, light attack, heavy attack, dash, jump attack, it works so well because they've just made such great enemies. It's what I've said a lot of times about games in combat. Like this game gets good enemy design, I think. And the boss design is great as well. There's always like a little gimmick with each one. I will say I like the first boss, like the Act 1 final boss, we'll say, more than Act 2's, but still like very impressed. And even if you take the whole, it's their first game out of this, like just wandering the world, getting little collectibles like that are tucked away, gradually watching this army of rots follow me. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's charming.
It looks stunning, man. It really does. I have to admit, I'm looking at this footage right now. I'm like, it's like a straight up Pixar.
Yeah. And we're at the point now where we've learned about this world for the first 2 acts. Now it's about Kena. It's like, what are you doing here this whole time? And like, you get these hints throughout, like, especially in the opening of the game, but now they're starting to peel back the curtain on her. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, I'll just say again, I'm sure most people who are fans of these style of movies have already checked the game out. But if you are a Disney animation or Pixar film fan, I mean, the way their story is told here, I love like a Toy Story. I love an Inside Out, like these powerful themes that are conveyed in such a animated yet tangible way. It's beautiful. It's art. So if you love these types of movies, I know that's not necessarily going to sound like a good selling point for the game, but it really, like, if you had the storytelling of like peak Pixar combined with like really good, like 360 era gameplay where it's not too open, but not too linear, you get Kena. It's like, it's just a great video game, man. Like I think the only thing that pisses me off is that I was like, this would totally be in my game of the year list if I played it the year it came out. Like 100%. But I'm glad I'm playing it now, as I said last week, and I should have it finished tonight or tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to the final report. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a series or whatever. Like that's the other thing. I don't know how this ends, or if it's going to be like, we're setting up a sequel, or I get the feeling just by how convicted they are in their storytelling. It feels like this will have a sense of finality. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Gotcha. That's the vibe you're getting.
Like, the vibe I'm getting is like they went like, we might only make one game. So like, let's just make this count. Complete story and everything.
Oh, I'm curious to see how it lands for you.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in it. I think it's gonna knock me on my ass.
Nice.
Tribe 9 up next. As promised, put more time into this one. I put like an hour in when I briefly spoke about it last week. I'm at like 6 or 7 hours into this now. I guess I could have had Kena done if I didn't mess around with this game, but you know me and my Kazutaka Kodaka experience. I gotta.
Oh boy, here we go.
What's going on with my mans, right? Especially because there's some artists on my team who also love these style of games. So we're all like looking at it, talking about playing it. So it's fun to kind of bond over that a little bit. And we're all kind of in agreement that like this is a pretty ugly game. Like, it's funny because I think Okay, so I think the game, when I say pretty ugly, I don't mean like it's pretty ugly. It's like a pretty game at times that's also ugly.
Break it down.
So, number one, their lighting is weak. Like, just not. There's spots that should be lit that, and I know I'm gonna sound super anal over this shit, and I get it, but like, look, y'all. It just when you again for me, like one of my jobs on my team is lighting. So when I see bad lighting, I usually don't lose my mind. But this game is like bad lighting where I'm like, bro, there's a light bar right there and you have no bounce lighting. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, so it's just like, yeah, it's like kicking in for me. I'm like, I was like, okay, I get this is probably what game developers go through a little bit, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's the first time it's driven me a little insane. But you let go of that part. But there's things like, bro, pixel art is tough to scale, of course. You know, like it's not like a 3D object where even those sometimes don't scale well, but like, I was talking with my art team. I'm like, what happened with this game? Because sometimes you'll like be walking inside a building and like everything will be scaled right. Like the way your player character scales to like a bin versus a bookshelf looks right. Then you'll go to an exterior space and like your character is way bigger than a car. And I'm like, and it's not narratively, by the way. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why does it look like this? One of my artists predicted that maybe it's like there's contract work being done and like you get the finalized assets and it's pixel art. You can't scale it up or down. So they're like, this is all we got. Throw it in.
Knock it out.
And so there's a lack of cohesion artistically too. Like you look at the menus, like very free to play-esque, like here are your icons on the top. You have pixel art characters, you have 3D environments, and then you have illustrated anime portraits. And I'm like, guys, pick a lane. It's so that's what I'm saying. Like all of these in certain pieces at certain times looks good, but most times it's just very ugly and not cohesive and lacks like a true identity. Gotcha. But nonetheless, my whole art, I'm sorry, I just had to get off my chest because I think Danganronpa is like a beautiful series. Like it has like a great color palette and it's very consistent and cohesive. Like Tribe 9 feels like they had a bunch of ideas and they were like, let's pull this all together into one game. And like Kodaka's a good enough storyteller, he'll figure out the rest.
He'll rock it out.
So I got through like the prologue into chapter 1. And what I'll say is really good, but the magic wears off a little bit when the free to play hits. I can't lie. Like there is that level of like the storytelling's rolling. I don't want to spoil anything, but like there's things that happen where you're like, no. And then chapter 1 happens and they're like, did it happen at all? And you're like, why are you here? And so it's that moment of like, okay, I'm in. And then you leave the building and they're like, let's get our dailies. Let's show you these. Show you summons. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, I'm like, no, I was having so much fun. I knew it was going to happen, but I was having so much fun. So yeah, Tribe 9, like whoever wrote in on Summon Sign about it being their best game since V3, I don't agree, at least right now. But I am hanging with it because it's just a fun game to like pick up and play. And it's held my attention more than like a Rain Code because there is a consistent direction we're heading in here. So I am enjoying it enough, but you know, it's a little flawed, but I didn't go in expecting anything too crazy here. But I will say the whole concept. So every day, you know how like Danganronpa has like the trials, right?
Yes, of course.
This game's version of that is Extreme Baseball. It's really, yeah, dude, this is a baseball murder mystery cyberpunk JRPG. It's weird.
Okay.
So there's this thing called Extreme Baseball, and like, bro, your arguments are your pitches. And so you're like throwing fastballs down the middle.
That's your man. Like, that's what he do.
And their answer is the baseball bat swing. So they're like yelling shit at each other and then they like drive one. What's crazy though is you think like right now you're probably thinking like they're on a baseball field. The field is the quadrant of the city they're in. So you'll like hit a ball into like a skyscraper and like you'll see these anime cutaways of like dudes running through buildings and streets and like catching it and then throwing the ball across the city. Like Extreme Baseball. And it's the most wild thing ever. It's the best part of the game though. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. It's just so out there. It's just these two do not go to, like you could tell it was such a fuck it, let's throw these together. Like murder mystery, baseball. Let's find out what happens. But it works. And I'm having a good time with it.
That's what he do. Yeah. That's what he do.
So I'm going to stick with it. You know, I will say I'm not going to oversell it to people, but like, it's good enough where I'm like, yeah, I see the flaws. I see the wrinkles. It's just guilty pleasure gaming for Maddie. That's all it is. You know,
it's some fun there for Maddie.
I like to have fun.
There we go. That's what people wanted to hear that from you. I think that's what people want to hear Maddie say. I have fun.
I do have fun.
We need to hear it more. That's what I think. That's what, if I had to give some criticism, I think that's, people don't believe you having fun. And I know you are, but I think we need to hear you say it.
You not just look at me and say, that's a fun guy. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's fun.
I'm a fun guy. Last game I've been playing, another fun game. No story here. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 Remake. So after everyone called out my mental illness on Summon Sign on why I was waiting for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 to play 1 and 2 Remake, as I mentioned last week, I bent the knee. I was ready to start playing. I fired it up. I'm just having a great time skating, man. Like, I don't know if there's anything else to say based on how we opened the show. So I don't need to drag it out too much longer, but just fun to be back in these levels. I will say there's a weight to the Tony Hawk remakes that isn't in the more old arcadey games that, like, I went and played 4 and then I played American Wasteland and then I went to Remake. And I will say, like, the lightness of the skating in the older games versus what you get in this, I was bad at this game at first. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, what happened to me? Like, I was like, I'm still nice at Tony Hawk, right? Like, I remember saying on the show, I was like, Tony Hawk's one of the few series I think I'm decent at. And then I was like busting ass constantly in the game. I was like, that ollie held like not as long as I thought. Or, oh, usually when you land a little crooked like that, they give you the sloppy landing. They take 500 points off. That's fine. But when they were like, oh no, you landed a little crooked, you're down. Like, I was like, no. So I got to kind of relearn it because now my ego has been a bit insulted by 1+2 Remake. So I got to kind of get in here, clean up shop, get the skills back, and warm up a bit for July when I go to 3+4 Remake. So I'm looking forward to that. But
nice.
I had fun.
A man having fun. There we go.
There we go. All right. First time on the news report. Rare time the Dukes get a little W here in the terms of timing. We had our original number one news story, and I don't know if I'll still make it our number one news story, but I wanted to circle back to this conversation nonetheless because we were talking earlier about no multiplayer in the Gears collection. Didn't expect us to have an answer, or at least an idea, so soon until our good friend Jez Corden chimed in, Jez Corden of Windows Central Gaming. He tweeted, I'm home. What did I miss? Got a reply. Rumors about the Gears of War collection. Jez said, well, what's the rumor? And someone said, no multiplayer. The source doesn't exactly inspire confidence, though. Which Jez said, actually, I too have heard no multiplayer. I said, no, as a Gears fan, this isn't great to hear. And he said, yes, I am not sure why they did it this way. You were vindicated mighty quickly. It didn't even take an episode.
Wow. Yeah, this is, shout out to Jez, man. I mean, you know, it's funny. He goes on vacation and so much hell breaks loose and then he comes back to this kind of stuff. So yeah, he clearly he's heard things, right? You know, Jez is definitely connected. I just, again, I don't think it's a, you know, how can I put it without being disrespectful? I understand from a complete package standpoint. If you are not giving someone a complete package, I can understand the frustration with that. I get it. I think the caveat here is the fact that the existing collections do exist. And to my knowledge, the multiplayer is still online with the older ones. Unless someone tells me that has changed. They are still online, yeah. Right. So the mindset, I believe, for them, almost treating it like a Halo. Remember when Halo 1 remastered? I believe
Anniversary Edition.
Anniversary. Because did Anniversary come with multiplayer? I'm trying to remember.
Sure,
now.
Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they did.
I'll double check.
Maybe this is a bad example.
I'll double check for you.
Double check because I want to make sure we fact check that. But look, I just feel the Gear situation is slightly different. Is what I'm getting at.
Yes, it did launch for that.
Oh, it did. Oh, damn. All right. So all right, you got me. But at the end of the day, I think they look at it as the Gears 2 and 3 exist on back and pat. Multiplayer servers are still up. They're not going to create new remaster multiplayer servers just for those games. And the thought process is story, campaign, get you into the new one. And then when E-Day come, that will most likely have a multiplayer component. And they want everybody not to be segmented online population. I get it to the letter of law. This is a half product. Maddie, you are correct. I'm not going to fight you there. This is a half product. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just trying to understand the mindset.
Make sure everyone hears that one more time, Cog. You're not making excuses.
Not making excuses for Xbox. This is a half product. And if you are upset that it is not there, I understand you. Yes, I am biased. I do not like Gears multiplayer, but it does not excuse the fact that, yes, it is not there. All I am saying is that it does exist in a current form, and thus they want to get everyone from the other ecosystems on the new, which is E-Day, which most likely will have a multiplayer component. So that's, I think, the thought process here. And I'm very curious. You know what? I want the LSM fam who are Gears heads to tell me how they feel, because it's not fair. I'm a Gears guy, but I'm a horde guy. I'm a campaign guy.
Here's another dosage of good news. Maybe we'll find a little in between.
What we got?
Jez did say co-op, but not PvP is what I heard.
Okay, because if they ain't had co-op, they would have been.
That to me is like, okay, if I'm speaking for me, before I talk about the product and on behalf of many a Gears fans who are going to be pissed about this, to me, I'm like, good. That is what I most cared about. As I said earlier, it's like, we need the co-op campaign, but like, I do worry a bit about not fully representing what Gears is. And like, I remember just like Gears and Halo multiplayer were firing off at the same time. And so I get that the 360 servers still exist, and to them it might be reductive to have, I guess, another set of servers for the remastered version, but I feel like the base will be huge there. So, and it's a driving option for sales. Like,
it is engagement.
Yeah, like especially engagement. Thank you for saying that word, because I'm like, that's the magic word at Xbox. I just am surprised.
But what
I'm taking it in real time.
but what does that tell you, Maddie? What does that tell you if corporate who knows live service and multiplayer is the way to get users in, but they are choosing not to include it in this particular, what do you extrapolate from that?
They could just be lazy.
That's true. That is very true.
Like, this would be easy.
Resources, facts.
Like it could just be like, this is an easier choice for us. I think now that we're seeing it develop in real time, I'm sitting here like, let's go back to E-Day. Let's go back to what you said to open the show. Gotcha. I think that's probably the most sound theory of it all. Like, why if this is designed to funnel everyone into that, why would you spark the old base? I guess to me, I feel like there's a benefit for Halo and its community to be able to go play Master Chief Collection or Infinite. Like, Infinite saw insane numbers, just Infinite couldn't hold a fraction of those numbers because of their post-launch support. But I hope that's not what scared them off, because I'm like, it wasn't like that was a 343 problem. That was like a launch window problem. Like their engine was not going yet for live service support. That's a whole different situation from like Gears. So I just I do hope that they maybe, like, because remember there was a rumor we talked about the Legendary Edition earlier as well for Mass Effect. Remember there was that rumor that they were going to bring 3's multiplayer back. Like, I wonder if they plan to like add multiplayer at some point. But do you think this ends up still being an adequate catch up for people? Like, this is why, like, Xbox fans, we loved Gears, we love it, but PlayStation fan, Switch fan gets their hands on it. Does the product, even though it's 2/3 of what makes Gears, do you think it still sells like, oh, I get why y'all like this?
Oh, this is gonna, man, let me tell y'all, when we get to our next topic, y'all seeing what they doing now. And I grant it, but this is gonna sell like gangbusters. People have to remember this, and this kind of does bleed into the next topic, but like, we're in the era of the ecosystem and the platform choice. And people made a decision at the start of a generation. And they say, this goes way back even from, Xbox 360 and what is it, PS3. People made a decision. And once you made that decision, whether it be from economics and all that stuff, and hey, I'm just going to play one console, and that's where I'm at. I'm staying here. People have missed out on so many games. And I think it's one of those things that Gears is one of those games that's like, man, that does look cool. And some people did break and said, all right, I'll get a 360, right? But there's a lot of people who are just PlayStation core. And then let's be honest, this is nothing like this has ever been in the Nintendo wheelhouse. Wow. So like, and the fact that our previous writer said that the PC versions are not even there. right? For 2 and 3. So you're going to get an influx of people who are playing this for the first time and go, oh my God, I get it. Because now I'm playing it where I want to play it at. You see what I'm saying? And we're going to get into the deeper. All this is bars I'm about to get into for the next one. It's a deeper thing here.
I'll leave it in. I want you to hold your bars back. Forza Horizon 5 has had some insane sales numbers as Xbox's dive into multi-platforming publishing has been aggressive, to say the least, but this week's stats is perhaps the best proof of why their vision could serve them well in the long term. Forza Horizon 5, a game that has surpassed 40 million players by July of 2024, is topping the charts in pre-orders. And what is it beating out but WWE 2K25, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and MLB The Show? Perhaps more interesting is that their premium edition, the version of the game that grants early access, is already a game that is available on the market for years and on multiple platforms, yet it is the highest performer on these pre-order charts. Bartivius does have a write-in. He wants to stop me nice and early. Maddie, in a recent video, you talked about how Forza Horizon 5's premium edition was leading pre-order charts due to early access. I don't think it's fair, to base it solely on that, as the premium edition is also the cheapest edition that comes with all the DLC. I just don't want it to become too strong of a narrative without that being considered. Cheers and have a great show, fellas. So I can't get carried away yet, according to the great word of Bartivius. But, Cog, I don't want to silence your bars. You got Forza popping off. What does this say to you about Gears?
Bro, I was legit blown away by this. And don't get me wrong. Like, seeing Forza Horizon, we know Forza Horizon 5 is the best arcade racer. You know, you could make the best racer right now. Just period. You can make the argument. Like, there's really nothing. Now, if you want to say simulation and you want to go Gran Turismo, Motorsport, fine. In terms of what the populace has decided, Forza Horizon is that wave. And it was a legit Game of the Year contender as far as I was concerned the year it came out. Here's the thing. This data is shocking to me, only from the standpoint it's global data. It's not just, United States.
Yeah.
US, Canada, Brazil, all regions, number one. And look at the games it's ahead of. Like, the premium $90, $100 version, people are willing to pay for a game that is 4 years old. You can get that game right now. So what does that tell you? And remember, we had the conversation about the strategy. And I said, remember, Maddie, sometimes, bro, they just don't like your music.
I thought of you right away. This was the best proof of that argument. Not that I ever disagreed with it, but like, this was the best proof that people are so deeply submerged in their own ecosystems that you have a situation here where it's like, by the way, again, 40 million players. I know that doesn't all translate to sales, but like, this is across PC and Xbox. The game has peaked completely. It has seen a lot of people, a lot of attention. The fact that it's topping pre-orders is crazy, but the fact that there are people so submerged in their ecosystems, there's not this level of like, I can wait a few days. I've seen this game like on Twitter. I've seen it on YouTube. I've seen the reviews. This has been around for a while. Like, I can wait 3 extra days. They're like, no, I need it now.
Now, the 5-day early edition paid.
I know Bartivius is like, well, consider the DLC, but I'm like, I think the leading driver is the access. I don't think it's the DLC.
100%. And not only that, 3 versions of it are topping the PlayStation, higher than WWE is hotter than fish grease right now with John Cena and the thing going on.
That fucking heel term was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
WWE is the number one, like, bro, we're talking about the WWE, which is the number one pop culture thing right now with all the wrestling ahead of that. Ahead of Assassin's Creed. And Assassin's Creed, now granted, they have fallen from grace. They are not what they used to be. But this is still an Assassin's Creed. This is a 4 or 5-year-old game that's out now, outselling pre-orders than the new Assassin's Creed.
What's funny is we had that Assassin's Creed data that was floating around like 400-ish thousand. So what does that tell you about Forza?
Bro,
that'd be above 500,000.
Above 500,000, above the Days Gone remaster, above Elden Ring Night Rain pre-order. Like, these are heavy hitter titles. We can't minimize this effect. And what it goes to show me, not only does, they don't like your music, what it tells me is 2 things. One, the digital era and people interested in their ecosystem, right? But what it also tells me is we don't like your platform enough to go buy those games, because the narrative was always this, Maddie. It was always, y'all don't have compelling software for me to buy. That was what I was told. Mm-hmm. I will not buy an Xbox because you don't have compelling software. Get compelling software and then I got it. This data shows that that's a lie. Because when it comes to your platform, all of a sudden, you're interested. You want it. So the narrative of social media, that's an echo chamber. That's not real. These are the real. Now, granted, it's just Sea of Thieves. Granted, it's early. It's pre-orders. It's not every single Xbox game, but these are early data points.
Well, this game's going to do stupid well, though. If Sea of Thieves was top 20, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a top 15 this year.
Exactly.
For PlayStation. So,
and I remember I'm the guy who's against the strategy. I'm the guy that was like, no, Xbox, not that I don't want you to live on and I don't want you to succeed. My thing is I'm worried about the short-term gain versus the long-term effect on your hardware.
Yeah.
That's my concern. Because my concern,
the brand stance. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be like, okay, all right, yes, you've confirmed you're making new hardware. Great, right? But what's the differentiator? And I get, people will say Game Pass, Carl. I get that. But I'm just concerned that we know how hardware is not a priority anymore, right? How do you still drive it? But to me, this vibe is like, Carl, we don't care. We've got the Trojan horse. They don't want to buy our hardware no matter what we do.
Yeah.
But if we put it on their game, on their console, or where they are, PC, Nintendo, whatever, look what happened. This is a crazy data point to me. I was legit shocked to see this level of success this early. And obviously we have some more data points. We'll see what happens with Outer Worlds when that's a day and date kind of situation. Yeah. I'm curious about the next data point for me is the first non-legacy game. Because even Outer Worlds, you could kind of say it's legacy because Outer Worlds 1 did happen on PlayStation. So there's a familiarity, right?
Sure.
With Forza and Sea of Thieves, they are Xbox exclusives, but they're older, right? I'm curious about the next brand new Xbox. Let's just say, for example, Fable. Let's say if Fable, the next day and date Xbox exclusive that has no legacy tied prior, how does that do?
Like an indie? And do you mean? Because Fable has legacy, but do you mean like indie?
Oh yeah, I meant like you mean like Indiana Jones, you meant to say?
Yeah.
What was your question? Yeah, like a new IP, any game that is fairly new to the, like for example, like let's say if Avowed had came out day and date. Let's say, just a game that is a brand new IP that now launches simultaneously, because right now we still have a little bit of stagger. Indiana Jones is a little bit of a stagger. Outer Worlds seems to be, but it has legacies. I can't count it. I need something that never existed on PlayStation before.
Like it was going to be an exclusive, but now it's like the multiplayer. Yeah. Fable is probably that pick, I think.
Yes. So Fable's the closest. I would love, let's say the delay now puts Fable in a window where now there is a PlayStation 5 port. I'm very curious about that data to see how it is. But look, I'll be the first. I have one thing about me. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I will say this early data, they're laughing at me. They're like, yeah, you worrying about the brand and you worry about, but look what they're buying. Look what the data says. And I'm like, damn, this is impressive. I didn't see this.
Yeah, it flies in the face of a lot of what I said too. It goes to it's a mixed. It depends how you want to look at it. I view it as a little mixed, not in the sense of like, I need to prove myself right here, but like the brand is dead in the way you once knew it, right? Like that is the reality of it all. That does make me feel a little mixed. I'm like, yeah, like Xbox, we've said many times on the show, like they'll always be here and they're going to be thriving now, but in the way they once functioned and the capacity and the way they were trying to be competitive and try to push the industry in a different way is gone now. And that I still think does suck. And I do worry about the long-term effects of that. But if we're talking building franchises, building fan bases, being the biggest publisher, taking over by software instead of hardware, if that's their new initiative, yeah, they're laughing at me. Because it's like, you look at this sort of shit, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, that's why Forza Horizon 5 was my pick to be next. I was like, this game will...
You called it.
It was do insanely well. Especially because PlayStation... The other thing was like PlayStation has a built-in audience that loves racing games, thanks to Gran Turismo. So like, I felt like that was such an easy pitch. The ones I'll be curious about, Starfield. Ooh. That is the one, because that to me, like Fable, I'm with you, or like whatever that next, like we expected it to be exclusive, but it's actually not game. For me, the Starfield check is y'all hated this for a while.
Oh, don't let those numbers come out.
And I was like, I will happily shut my mouth if it comes out and it doesn't do much. But if it comes out and I see that shit selling like hotcakes and people are like, oh, it's actually not that bad. If I see that, I'll be like, yo.
Bro, I'll get the hoodie back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start humming. I'm gonna be singing all episodes. Don't let that data be tame.
Yeah. Yeah. Like top 10, you know, one
top
spot
10.
in the top 10.
All right. Fair. Don't let that be number one, because then it will expose outlets and social media as echo chambers.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not representative of what the consumers buy. And what we do know is this, and this is both consoles. This is not slandering PlayStation. This is just look, we talk about the black hole games, we talk about the multiplayer games. Those are the games that are top 10 every month on Circana. Let's just be honest, right? Not that exclusives don't matter, because I'm from exclusives. I love exclusives. They add flavor to it. But we're in an era now where they're not as dominant as they used to be outside of Nintendo. Nintendo to me is the outlier, right? You buy Nintendo for but I think for the big two, the heavyweight guys, it's really the third party stuff that's leading the charge here. So it's interesting. We're just in this weird timeline, and I need to see more data. But yeah, I was surprised by this. A paid version and the most expensive version and early access. There's a fever. There's a demand for this. And look, to your last point, what you said was excellent. You know, Xbox as we once know them, that is dead, right? And there is a sadness to the level of the competitive nature from what we used to. Because let's be honest, we come from the console war mentality on some level, right?
Yeah.
This console versus that console,
yeah.
Who's going to get the share, all that stuff. But I think ultimately, if you care about the games and the franchise, because developers care about their franchises growing and being, this is probably the more pro developer thing. And let's be honest, how much does that incentivize a Forza Horizon 6 in Tokyo? And, you know what I'm saying? With crossplay, more players playing in this thing. So if it's about the longevity of the games, it's one thing we hate. Damn, that game went away. This studio shut down. This kind of strategy kind of keeps things alive. So that's why I said it. But I always said when the news broke, is it about greed or is it about survival? And if it's about for Xbox to survive, then I'll accept the reality where they're not going to be competing in the console space anymore, even though I still like exclusives. But this is just, the numbers are just showing me, yo, Cock, shut up. And I'm like, all right, for now, I want to see more information.
Yeah.
I need to see more.
Yeah. And so what does this make you think about Gears, right? If we go back to Gears as a collection, you know, no multiplayer, co-op, probably on all platforms, you'd have to imagine. Like this might be kind of like the Fable we were looking for. It's, I guess, a little cheapened, if you will, because it's like an established collection of games we've already played. But you know, do you think that this is going to be that same sort of level? Because that is, like we always say, like the burger, fries, and the shake. That's the Halo, that's the Gears, that's the Forza. So one of the three menu items has fallen.
Yes. Yes.
So do you think Gears hits that low? Because to me, if I were to scale it out, I think Forza, if we're talking Horizon, I think that was the peak. Like that is the height. Because I think this game's going to do, especially like I'm talking long term. Like these are good early numbers, but I think long term, this game's going to sell really well. Like we're not even accounting for the numbers. This is a full price game, by the way.
Full price. Bro.
Remember there was a time where it was like, yeah, it's been on the market for a while. So like there was a fair like $20 deduction starting point. It's like not even that anymore. Like they're like, you're going to pay full price for this.
And the digital only.
Yeah.
And dudes is buying it. And this is the physical community. That's why I was surprised. There's so much thing that
that's a good point.
Think about it, bro. PlayStation guys buy physical games.
Yeah.
But the data now must show different because what is it, 70-30 on the store? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. So I just look at this and I'm like, I think Gears, if I were predicting by popularity, I feel like Gears could overtake Halo a little bit on those sales, because I think the Halo image has been hurt a little bit, but the novelty of Halo with the PlayStation logo, I think does something.
I agree.
And I wonder, I feel like, bro, I feel like the Switch event Xbox fans should tune into, because I think there would be a massive wave and a statement made if Xbox hit that digital stage, we'll call it, and was like, yeah, Halo and Gears collections are both coming to Switch too. That sort of statement just alone says so much about the future of the platform. Like, you're giving up the two defining properties that you have. Like, Forza was one of them, but it's not the core gamer one, right?
Agreed.
Like, if you will. No
Agreed.
disrespect to the Forza bros out there.
Agreed.
But like, when you say you go out and you make a public, it'll probably be Phil Spencer, who's like, yeah, Halo, Gears, here are the dates. I think that is going to put a lot of people, like, these are the announcements that put people into their place, right? Like, the people who were like, are still folding their arms like, no, that's not happening. They will finally shut the fuck up. The people like you and I who are like, is it greed? Is it survivability? We'll just shut the fuck up because we're like, okay, they're making a lot of money and Defining Duke lives on. That's all we care about. We get to keep doing our show.
I think you're 100% right. I think the Nintendo platform is the perfect venue, the perfect place, because for whatever reason, Nintendo's like Switzerland. No one cares if you put it over there. For some reason, it's a happy
Why
place.
Switzerland?
Because it's a peaceful place. Like, you notice if someone goes to Nintendo, PlayStation fans don't get mad. You know, Xbox fans don't get mad.
It's neutral. It's neutral territory.
It's neutral territory. Like, bro, if you put a PlayStation, when Xbox guys got Death Stranding, bro, it was hell in the streets. You know what I'm saying? For PlayStation fans didn't like it. Xbox fans do not like, let's be honest, the emotionality of seeing their exclusives over there. But for whatever reason, Nintendo eases the blow. Like, those are good friends of Nintendo. Those are our little guys. Those are the little homies.
It's got to be I was going to say heritage, but I feel like they all have heritage. They've all been around since like the 90s or early 2000s. I guess Nintendo, though, was like since they're so in their own pocket, it's like, oh, the kids can have that. That's what I think people go with. Like, yeah, what kid's going to buy Halo? You know, like, that's what they're probably thinking. Little do they know, like, Halo was a game I was playing when I was a fucking kid. Like,
facts. When that Nintendo Direct music, choose it with the Master Chief Collection can do it. You know the voice, Chris Vega does the voice the best. Like, I love when he imitates the voice. And it's going to happen. And that's going to be a moment. And I agree with you. I think if I had to do the
Imagine they introduce it on the Direct, like, this one's going to grind your gears.
Lacerate foes with the curb stomp your friends. You know that guy's going to come on. He's going to have that
it's
verbiage.
Time to teabag on Switch.
You know what's happening, bro. I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those moments in gaming. We'll be like, yo, this is happening. And we're going to see box art. You're going to see Master Chief's helmet. You're going to see it on the Switch. You're going to see it on the then you get the post after where you see Halo Studios. Hey, we're announcing our friends from PlayStation as well. But Nintendo will be the jump ball. But to your ultimate question, if I had to rank it, Halo Forza right now, I think it's actually going to keep the number 2 spot over the Burger Shaker frame. I think so. Look, and no disrespect to Gears. It's not that Gears can't do it, but because there won't be no multiplayer component, I don't know if that long tail will compete with a Forza. Remember, I keep forgetting Cars is a global, and that's a European thing. Cars is something else, bro. And if Gears
I don't get some of y'all out there with your cars and your love for them.
Their love is crazy, bro. So that is, I think that's going to work, but it's going to be the moment because Halo is so synonymous with Xbox. That's their Mario in a way. And you know, if Halo didn't exist, there's no Xbox, right? So when that happens, it's going to be a cultural moment because even non-gamers know, like, wait a minute, isn't that thing Microsoft makes? Wait a minute, I went in a store, Jimmy, and I saw that thing Microsoft makes. You know how it go. Your grandpa, they'll be like, yo, isn't that thing? Yeah. Wait a minute, it's on the other, it's everywhere. Yeah, Dad. It's going to be one of those cultural moments, bigger than gaming. And that's where people are going to buy multiple copies for the novelty of seeing Halo on PlayStation. Bro, I'm going to buy, Chris, we have already talked, we're buying Switch copies, bro. I want to do Joy-Con local. Bro, it's going to be a moment. Yeah. Everyone playing. Let's be honest, Nintendo fans, it's going to be the first time y'all really played a real console first-person shooter. I'm just saying.
Hey, Metroid Prime is all right. Come on
It's
now.
Okay, but I'm talking about competitive.
Okay.
Competitive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're playing on Joy-Cons, you're going to get fucked up online. Yeah, you're gonna get waxed by people with good controllers.
Switch gang, y'all getting wrecked out here. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all ain't got the form factor to compete. We just happy y'all here. You gonna put y'all in a little server room. We gonna do. I think Fortnite did that.
It's gonna be like, you remember like the term for Call of Duty, like Christmas noobs. Like you sign on Christmas Day, like all these kids are like level 1. You just fucking trounce them all day. That is, I cannot wait for that moment for Halo. Bro. Like, because when I sign on Halo right now, it's all the dudes who know the spawns. They are like laser precise. This is my time to reassimilate myself with the Halo community and be like, I've been around long enough. Like, I'm like the 40-year-old vet with bad knees coming in. I'm like, I can hang.
Bro, hell yeah. We have an expression. We go, I'm going to shack these kids. Like, it would be equivalent of Shaq, the center in his prime, backing down a 5-year-old. Yeah. Oh, you want to play ball? Let me show you how to do that. Yeah, I'm going to take him to the biddies. So look, at the end of the day, it will be funny. Don't let them do it. This will be very toxic. I kind of co-sign it, but it would be very toxic. Don't let them put the logo of your platform in the lobby. And you see them, the Switch logos in the Halo.
They're getting exclusively teabagged. I'm telling you, bro. The harassment campaigns are going to be insane. If we already heard that NBA 2K players see the Xbox logo, they're like, nah, bro. Other side of the court. Like,
dudes just step off. Dudes in the hood are telling me. I'm like, it's that bad? They be console warring that bad in multiplayer? They say, yeah, COG is toxic, bro. They don't even want to play with us over there. Like, it's that bad. So I already know it's going to be crazy with that. And then, like I said, but what's cool, though, is just, I remember one of the things that made Halo great and why I fell in love with Xbox Halo is doing a LAN party, right? Nintendo, because of their offline sensibilities and the fact that you could play with multiple people in a space, we could think about 4 people in the airport. Yo, bro, break out your Switch. Let's do Halo right now.
Kind of cooking. Yeah, I can see the Nintendo commercial right now.
They're going to be on the rooftop. Yeah. They're going to be doing, remember how the Switch conversion, the rooftop and the basketball court? Yeah. Bro, Halo, let's go. If they go make it, Phil going to come out next day. Somebody going to come out. It's Sarah, somebody. It's going to be something. It's a moment.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's the commercial. You are right there. That is the commercial. That moment of like, I could see the swiveling camera of like some dork smiling with like the Switch in his hands. And then another dork's playing it in the tabletop mode with the mouse. And he's like, yo, look at all these ways we're playing Halo while we're waiting offline. Like, I could see it, bro.
Totally.
They got to hire you.
They got to hire. But y'all told you, they know what to do. They know where I'm at. Y'all want suggestions, y'all need help. Your boy does this. So it's just like but they got to have an offline mode. Like dedicated for Switch. If you want Switch to pop, I'm giving y'all the alley-oop, Xbox. Yep. This is what you do. But yeah, to your point, back on track with the topic, if we thought Horizon numbers, Halo numbers, Master Chief Collection numbers are going to be insane.
So you think Halo takes that number 1 spot?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Years in last place, though, we're kind of in agreement. Yeah.
Third place.
Yeah, especially no multiplayer. I feel like that cuts the tail a little bit.
Time.
You know?
Big time. Yeah.
So
it'll do well, but just not as well as those two.
Yeah. So we'll be tracking all of this closely. But any more thoughts on all of this, COG?
What a time. Yeah. What a timeline. We are.
Dude, we're like a month away from that Switch 2 event. And like, I've just been thinking about it every day. I'm like, this could be, it's good. Like, I know it's for Nintendo fans, but it's good. I already know it's going to be a huge day for us. Like, it's going to be insane. What day of the week is that? Do we have to?
What's the date? It's April what?
Of course it's a Wednesday.
Oh no.
Of course it's a Wednesday. Yeah.
We got to delay the show.
Yeah.
We got to do the pickup.
Actually, no, I think we'll be good. Nintendo does their shit early in the morning.
Okay.
When is this?
There ain't no way we getting caught with that.
Yeah.
The bad luck Dukes can't continue on that one.
I know it's the 2nd of April. Nintendo said, oh, we're good. Yeah, no, it's in the morning.
Oh,
6 a.m. Pacific time.
So, oh, yes.
Thank you, so we're Nintendo. Good. We're good. That's actually going to slot very nicely in our show.
Yes.
All right. Well, next up here, COG, we've got Game Pass. And there's one here. Don't make me do it again, bro. COG, you'll know when we get there.
I already see it. I just scrolled out and updated.
Yeah. There's one game here, y'all. I promise y'all, I will only speak for 2 seconds. Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass March 4th. You'll have had Monster Train on console, PC, and cloud. Galacticare arrives March 5th on console, PC, and cloud. One Lonely Outpost. Looked kind of interesting, not going to lie. Console, PC, and cloud. March 11th, you get Enter the Gungeon on console, PC, and cloud. Mullet Mad Jack arrives on Game Pass March 13th. Series X and S, PC and cloud, and 33 Immortals enters. This is early access, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. March 18th, Series X and S, PC and cloud. I remember you like that one. Leaving Xbox Game Pass. I can't lie, y'all. This is a fucking brutal batch for me. This is a brutal batch. Like everything here, pretty much, I would recommend you play. Evil West, Lies of P. Y'all.
So soon.
Lies of P. No More Heroes 3. Solar Ash. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Another one.
The babies.
Interestingly here, big move. Yakuza is starting to leave Game Pass. It's getting Hollywood now. Yakuza 5 Remastered and 6, The Song of Life are out. So, Cog, we have a lot here. I think everyone knows exactly where I'm going to go. So I'll keep the show interesting and go to you.
Yes.
Any recommendations before these games leave or maybe enter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously know which one you're going to take. I would say, like I said, for those who didn't play Evil West, it was an old throwback 360 type joint.
Good.
Yeah, I really like that, man. I remember previewing that game with Solve. That's like one of the last games me and Solve come together. It was so cool. 33 Immortals, man. I'm really hype. I'm starting to really get into. I've been in a couple of betas and stuff like that, and I can't wait to see if this thing truly lands the scope of it. But keep your eyes out for 33, man. I think they got something cooking.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's a lot of what's leaving. Evil West is fantastic, as Cog already illustrated. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, one of my favorite 3D platformers ever. The remake is fantastic. Yakuza, I mean, look, you're not going to get to 5 or 6 by that point in time, but, you might still want to start with 0, which is still there, or any of the Kiwami games, but these later entries are starting to fade, so this might be your sign that if you're looking at the Yakuza series, like I am, might be time to start revving the engine, figuring things out before you see that notice that's like, oh, it's leaving in a week, and I'm like 15 hours into it. Damn. But of course, the ultimate Hollywood move before which I found kind of interesting. I was like, I thought they'd keep it till the expansion lands.
Yes.
Lies of P leaves. Y'all, do not let Pinocchio sneak up on you. This fucking prequel looks peak. In fact, you know what? I want you guys to pay for it. I've talked enough about it. I want you guys to go pay for it. You won't regret it. But you know what? I think sometimes that you grubby Game Pass users, some of y'all will go ahead and download your little game. It won't pass the 30-minute test. You'll be like, it's mid-bat. So I'm gonna wait. March 15th will hit. I'll strike again and be like, all right, go pick it up. Go buy it. Because guess what? There is that attachment you draw to something you've spent your money on. You're like, okay, I've invested something into this thing. And for me to get the most out of it, I need to spend time with it. So I'm telling you, don't let Lies of P2 sneak up on you.
Oh.
That prequel is coming up. It's going to slap all of us in the face. It's going to be sick. I already know it's going to be incredible. Probably Game of the Year contender, right? So Lies of P Overture is going to show up. It's going to leave. Give them like another year or two, and you're going to have one of the greatest endings spoiled for you because you didn't listen to me. So I just want write-ins in the coming weeks being like, Maddie, I did it. That's you don't have to say anything else. Like I won't even throw you in the show. I'll just like your comment. So I don't want to embarrass you. Just Maddie, I did it. That's all I need to hear.
I feel you. Yo, you were preaching a good word, man. That game was amazing. I will admit, as a person who doesn't like Souls games, I have to admit, I was like, no,
it's just
quality.
I am a big atmosphere guy, so I know I grade that a little bit higher than others. But like, y'all, everyone out there, I see every fucking showcase. Bloodborne, where's my Bloodborne? Bloodborne 2 has arrived. You just haven't played it yet. And it's got a better story. All right, moving on.
Facts. I'm standing on business with you on that.
Yeah.
That's my issue with the Dark Souls crowd. Like, I'm not with y'all narrative. At least that like had a real narrative.
It is so good. I'll even throw this out there. It is so good that I'd never do this, but before the DLC, I will be replaying the game. Like, it is that good. So, I'm excited. All right, Cog. Game Pass pick of the week time, and we're out of here. I want to know what you've got selected for everyone. I see your selection, and it is, I love it.
Yeah, this is a throwback because it all started with developers from Moon when making a comment. I think someone asked them, and they were talking about how they like Xbox's strategy with multi-platform approach. And I was shocked because I thought the relationship between this studio and Xbox was pretty much unrepairable. And that is Moon Studios. And obviously we know about No Rest for the Wicked, but true Xbox heads know Moon Studios, they've been cooking for a long time. Mm-hmm. And most of y'all frauds, because y'all didn't have an Xbox, and y'all said there wasn't no games.
This was, this was part of that. We got to come up with a term for the fallen soldiers of the first 2 years of the Xbox One version. This was one of the fallen soldiers. It was just there. It was incredible.
Bro.
Will o' the Wisp was overlooked. The Game of the Year conversation. Like, these are fallen soldiers, our brethren.
Ori, Will o' the Wisp, you frauds, because I know y'all didn't have Xbox, and y'all betrayed them, and y'all didn't play it. Y'all said it was nothing to play on this platform. This was a Game of the Year contender. Yeah. You want to talk about Pixar. You want to talk about art style. You want to talk about a game that has deep emotions and feelings with Ori and saving this forest. And then I even like how the game has like vocals, but in the vocal of the language of the tree and stuff like that. And it's it's a very ominous spiritual style game. The platforming, amazing. Metrovania done in a very cool way. The spirit tree, the way you attack with your projectiles, but then you picking your path with your skills. The unique save system, you create the save to where you are and then start back and replay. The boss fights. Bro, this game has true tear-jerking moments.
Yes.
I mean, the way the game started, I was like, oh, not like that.
Not literally the way it starts. Yeah,
I'm like, not for the little homie like that, though. You know what I'm saying? And he reaches out, and I'm like, oh, man, I like this. Bro, this game is a masterpiece. It is a work of art. Now, I just something said, you know what? I didn't play the definitive edition. You know, the definitive edition is on Game Pass right now. Hyper visuals, 120 frames per second. Beautiful art style of Series S. And right now in Game Pass, and it looks like it ain't going away because I think Microsoft owns the IP. I forgot who owns the IP, but look, man, this is Moon Studio at its best. And if there's a shot we could get Ori 3, which I believe he is hinting heavily that the talks may have started, because guess what? One of the reasons why it fell apart is because at the time they were fighting for the exclusivity of it, and developers now want their games to be everywhere. You want it on Nintendo, you want it on PlayStation. Yeah. This game deserved better.
Yeah.
Go play Ori, Will o' the Wisp, please. If you want an amazing platform in Metrovania, it gets few could compete with this game.
Yeah.
This game is truly special. And then once I do that and I'll finish that, then I'll get into Will o' the Wisps and stuff like that, which I covered. Shout out to Santober. I remember we covered Will o' the Wisps at E3 2018. And the passion, the music. I remember speaking to the music in this game.
That's so good. There's not a bad part about the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Like, even they tune their difficulty even down to the, you remember in Blind Forest, the escape sections?
Yes. Oh, bro, the escape's crazy.
They make them more difficult, but if you play on a higher, so like even, it's not just combat difficulty, it's platforming difficulty. So just, it's really, really well done.
Yeah, dungeons, just everything, man. It is a true experience. I love that game. It needs to get credit. So Ori, if you haven't played it, please, man, pick up that Ori. It's in Game Pass, definitive edition right now, and you can get caught up. Because I think I will say, I'm giving you out a precursor. My prediction is 3 is going to come. The way I believe his gentleman's name, Thomas Mahler, I believe his name is. Bro, the way he's talking, they're in a good place, and they just got to work out
I think what's opened up now is like, even if you do, I put it in quotes, like Xbox exclusive or funded or day one Game Pass, they're spreading to so many platforms so quickly. And again, if my prediction proves true of like other manufacturers making Xbox platforms that are available, like it's not as much of like a wall of like join this dying console as an exclusive, and that's really it. Like you have a better chance to win. And especially because, again, as a developer myself, am I absolutely watching Xbox closely funding multi-platform games that are like experimental and indie? They have a great indie program. It's like 100%, bro. You think not when our game's ready to pitch again, you think we're not knocking on ID at Xbox's door? Hello? Like, yeah. So no doubt that's why these developers, like I will say this, for all the critique that Xbox has got, they have made themselves a great funder for video games through their initiatives. ID at Xbox, Game Pass, what they're doing now with multi-plat, they're really enabling projects that typically get told no. And while I'm not going to overpraise a corporation, there is a level of like, look, we did want these acquisitions to happen to get the cash flow in so that they could say yes to crazy things. That's why we're like Scalebound, Ori 3, Ninja Gaiden 4, like make this shit happen. Because that's, not to take a Phil Spencer quote, but that truly is where we all win.
Facts.
It's like when we're actually getting the things that we know are, I know this isn't Xbox, but like we're getting to that point where like impossible games are like, oh yeah, like Okami 2. It's like, these things are happening now. Kunitsugami, Xbox did have a hand in that. It's like, that is the best thing about this plan. I don't know if it'll last forever. Maybe they're in their golden era of like, we're flush with cash.
Yeah,
we got the Call of Duty money. We got the Candy Crush money. We've got the Fallout money. Like we've got all this money and we can just re-release it. Like they're going through right now, like recounting their dollar bills. Like, oh, we only sold 3 million of Gears on Xbox alone. All right, double that. PlayStation, Switch. Like how much do you think we're going to get for that? Like they're counting their money before they've even sold anything right now. So they get to kind of go through this golden era of like just, again, putting lots of money into developers' pockets, which is why I think like Thomas Muller and No Moon are going to show up and be like, yeah, let's do Ori 3. Come on now. Like, obviously.
And then you could potentially still get a Game Pass bag.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And probably won't be as big as it used to be.
No, the Game Pass Gold Rush is over from what I've understood.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's like a lot of, like, they're way more selective now from what I understand.
Yes.
The good news though is if you budget your project well, you can make a profitable game through Game Pass. Like you can just straight up be like, all right, like this is how much we need. We're going to negotiate for this deal. It's like, okay, we're already in the plus. Take it. And that's it. So
financial, for sure. So yeah, Ori, I wanted to give you a shout out, man. In the Blind Forest. Go check that out.
Awesome pick. All right. Well, Cog, we're going to wrap up and get on out of here. Our hashtag of the week. What are we feeling?
Funny episode.
Yeah.
So
we're so far removed from the tapioca balls and the throw and the Lizzies, and I feel like that was a totally different show.
Bro, I forgot about Throat Coat all this time now.
Yeah, true. I think we definitely, there's something that happened this episode. We definitely moved past Throat Coat. I think we hit a new level.
Man. I mean, the Forza thing was big. I mean, the Gears thing was big.
Mm-hmm.
It's something. It's a battle between, I feel, Gears and Forza. But like I can't like nail it down on where I want to go with it because both were like really intense. What you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the concise quote that
brings it together. Definitely shocked by the amount of like the reception.
We've done pre-order DD. I know for
pre-order DD before. Yeah, we've done that before.
I think we've even done Where's My Money. That's one.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Where's My Money DD was funny.
Oh man, are we getting to that point where we've done so many we're just running dry? We've done Gears DD for sure.
Yeah, we definitely done that. Yeah, they definitely done that, especially around E-Day time when they got it announced.
Yeah, I think that was when we did it.
Because the thought process is like, where you put it where they gonna come. Like, but it's like, how do we get that in DD form? I am actually at a
yeah.
It's a tough one.
No multiplayer.
Too specific.
Yeah,
too specific.
Yeah, no multiplayer is stupid. I'm taking a quick scroll here. We usually get it like
we usually get it quick.
Immediately.
Yeah. So really, I know the bro with the Dukes is like, it should be this. You guys are sitting. They're always good at telling us what we should do when we have the brain farts or what to say. It was standing right there. You guys didn't do it. What you think?
I was gonna say Expedition DD, but that's when the game comes out. Like
that's when the game. We gotta say that. Yeah. That's when they get close.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk was big. I mean, I don't think it was bigger than the other joints.
Yeah, it's not our main story. We have to filter this into our main story.
Yeah, the main story is Forza, right? The main story is Horizon, and it sucks. We did pre-order DD. That's what's killing us right now.
Yeah,
we've done that. I don't know. I'll leave it to
Drive DD. I don't know.
I don't know. Chat. We don't got live chat.
Yeah, that would be clutch right now. Let's just before we drag it on to it, we'll do Drive DD.
Drive DD for now.
Yeah. Why not? All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got this far into the episode. Let us know your thoughts. Use the hashtag DriveDD. I'm at G27 Status on Twitter. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can tag us there. If you don't use Twitter, no problem. You can find us down below in the comment section. Again, use the hashtag DriveDD. Cog, any closing thoughts as we wrap this one up?
Super fun show. Dope. A lot of good takes. Yes. And man, I'm excited, man. We got a lot of stuff cooking in March and April. It's going to be another grind soon.
Yes.
So I'm in between grinds.
We're reloading.
Right now. Yes, we're in the reload phase. So I'm getting ready. But good stuff, bro.
Absolutely. Great show. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week for episode 219 of Defying Duke and Xbox podcast. Until then, take great care of yourselves and peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.